A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio. A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Suspense. Autolite and its 96,000 dealers present Mr. Eddie Cantor in Double Entry, a suspense play produced and edited by William Spears.
Well, a weeping reindeer. What's wrong?
I just lost my job.
Oh, that's terrible, and so near Christmas. By the way, what's your name?
Donna?
Well, tell me, Donner, how do Blitzen, Dancer, and Prancer feel about this?
Oh, just awful. They've been fired, too. You see, when Santa Claus, was our boss, first heard about your Autolite Stay Full batteries, he decided to give up the sleigh and make his deliveries by car.
Oh, Santa fell in love with those Stay Full features, eh?
I guess so, but I don't know why.
Oh, that's easy. You see, his Autolite Stay Full battery needs water only 3 times a year in normal sleigh car use. And then, too, it gives him, pardon the expression, reindeer fast starts, even in the North Pole. And what's more, with those fiberglass retaining mats protecting every positive plate, Autolite Stay Full batteries deliver 70% longer average life than batteries without Stay Full features. That's shown by recent tests based on SAE life cycle standards.
Well, that doesn't make me any happier.
Oh, come on, dear. Cheer up. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Remember, you're always bright with Autolite.
Mr. Cantor appears as Eddie, with Sidney Miller as Sam, his bosom friend, in Double Entry, an unusual story of clerical crime at Christmas time. Altogether, a most remarkable tale of suspense.
It always balances in the double entry system. If it don't, you hang around until it does. Yeah, even Christmas week. That's what I've been doing all my life, keeping books. It's fascinating, positively fascinating. Look at them figures. Beautiful, ain't they? Calligraphy, they call it. That's Greek for beautiful handwriting, you know. I bet in my day I've written billions of figures. Oh, hundreds of billions. And cash? Say, I've handled so much cash, my fingers are calloused. Why, once I even got water on the thumb from licking it to count money. But so what? What's cash? You go along every day counting it, piling it up, never thinking who owns it, never even think about what it will buy. Handling cash is just the same as adding figures. A job. Then, one day something happens that makes you look on things different. There's no excitement in an office, no danger, no heroism, no adventure, not much chance to risk anything, to do something for a pal. So if a guy gets a chance to do a favor, to help out a pal who's in a jam, well, maybe you look on cash a little different. All of a sudden, cash is more than pieces of metal and bits of green paper. And if it's Christmas week, if it's Christmas Eve, and your pal is true blue, it's even more important.
Eddie, hand me that Dixie cup, will you?
Your ulcers bothering you again, Sam?
Yeah, bad. These ledgers are driving me nuts.
You got the wrong temperament for an accountant, Sam. You shouldn't let it get you down.
Things can't go on like this, Eddie.
What's the matter, Alice? Don't Alice understand you?
No, that's not what I mean, Eddie.
What do you mean, Sam?
You wouldn't understand, Eddie.
You always say that, Sam. I'm an understanding guy. That's what Mabel says.
Mabel says. You understand Mabel. Does she understand you?
Certainly, perfectly. A man's wife has to understand him. If she don't, what good is she?
Well, that's a nice way to look at it. If your wife understands you.
Don't Alice understand you?
No, Alice don't understand me.
That's because you don't understand her.
Will you shut up? Sometimes you're so smug.
Oh, lay off, Sam. You can't go on like this.
Like what?
Grouchy all the time? You got something on your mind that Alice don't understand? Try me out. I won't throw no dishes at you.
I can't tell you, Ed. It wouldn't matter anyway. You can't do nothing.
Well, just telling your troubles helps sometimes. Talk, Sam.
No.
Talk, Sam. This is Eddie, your friend.
Okay. It's the auditors.
Oh, them guys?
Yeah.
Don't let them worry you. You're head bookkeeper here, ain't you? You tell them. Don't let them tell you.
I'm telling you, Eddie. They're getting awful close.
What are you talking about?
They're driving me nuts.
Why, Sam?
Eddie, I'm light.
You mean...
The books. They're light. They're short.
You mean that...
I'm a crook, Eddie. Yeah, an embezzler. And they're going to get me. Those auditors, they're on to me. I know they are. I can feel them getting closer and closer. Now, after 9 years, they're on the trail, Ed.
You a crook, Sam. I don't believe it.
Oh, I wish I were dreaming.
Why, Sam, you're the fair-haired boy around here. All you have to do is ask.
Ask who? Bartholomew, that tight-fisted
It's
stubborn...
Alice. She's to blame, I know. She wasn't satisfied with your salary. She wanted ermine, capes, diamonds, a box at the opera. I know she drove you to it, Sam.
Don't blame her, Eddie. This one we can't blame on Alice. She doesn't even know anything about this caper.
Well, if she didn't drive you to it, why'd you do it?
All those kids on the block. They wanted to go to camp. Yeah, that's how it started, Eddie. With unknown benefactory.
What? You don't make sense, Sam.
It was just $100 or so at first. I figured to put it right back. Then the papers come out with unknown benefactor sends 20 kids to summer camp. Oh, that got me. That unknown benefactor.
So that was you, huh?
Yeah. And pretty soon I was taking out $100 here, $100 there, sending it off to all sorts of people and outfits. I sent dough to help the Institute for Aged Cats.
Oh.
Yeah, then I was an unknown contributor to Help Save Vaudeville movement. And kids. I was always helping kids. A regular Scrooge.
No. Santa Claus, Sam.
Yeah. And it made me feel great. Of course, I'd cover up on the books here with a fake entry, hoping I'd hit on the market and be able to put it all back, you know.
Yeah, but you were always unable to make a recoup. Kept getting in deeper. Sam Crockett, an embezzler, and for 9 years.
Don't say it, Eddie.
9 years. How much did you take in all that time?
$100,000 and 11 cents. Where am I going to get that kind of money?
I could dig up the 11 cents.
Oh, wisecracks. That's all you're good for. Jail staring me in the face.
What do you want me to say? What do you generally say? What do you generally say to your friend when he tells you he's a crook?
I told you because it feels good to get it off my chest. 9 years of hell.
That's why you've been so nervous.
That's where my ulcers come from.
Every night working late, covering up and...
Sweating, worrying. Thinking of the ultimate end. The wall's closing in on me, Eddie.
And now... Hello, yes? Yes, Mr. Bartholomew. Send Crockett in? Okay.
My master's voice.
Bartholomew wants to see you. Wag your tail, Fido.
Wag it. I can't even drag it. Say, Eddie, didn't I see the auditors go in there a minute ago?
Yeah, come to think they did, Sam.
This is it, kid. Merry Christmas.
Maybe it's not, Sam.
I got a feeling. I'm not scared, Eddie. No, it's a relief. Now I'll sleep nights. Maybe my ulcer will clear up. Oh, but those kids are going to take it hard when they read about their unknown benefactor doing time.
$100,000. Holy. Wonder what he did with the 11 cents. Sales tax, I suppose. What a chump.
Your name, Eddie?
Yeah, what about it?
What about it? I'm Fink Freeze. Mr. Flint said to drop in and see if you want to place a bet today.
Flint who?
What do you mean, Flint who? Mike Flint. Ain't your name Eddie?
Sure, but I never heard of Mike Flint. You got the wrong Eddie. My name's Sullivan.
Oh, he didn't tell me the last name. How am I to know? He says look up Eddie in 411 Perry Trust Building.
This is 511.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Wait. You say you take bets on horses?
I'll take a bet on a camel if he's running a tropical park.
Are you a bookie?
Well, I ain't no taxidermist, pal.
Say, I may be the right Eddie after all. Got any odds?
Well, if you're on the level, Eddie.
You're in the business. Do I look like a stool pigeon?
Okay, Eddie. I guess you're okay. Odds, huh? You want odds? Well, let's see. A tropical park, I can give you 10-1 in the first race. Aleppo finished last in a field of 9. His only other start.
Let's see the form.
You see, odds is okay if you don't bet too heavy. Play odds like a side bet, Eddie. The thing to play is the jockey, not the horse. Now, you take Sylvester. Won 3 yesterday, 2 on Monday, 1 on Sunday. Oh, he's hot, very hot. He can ride any dog into the money.
Does he ride a long shot today?
No, he's got 2 favorites and 4 short odds nags. He'll win, say, 2 races today, maybe 3, 1 for Santa Claus.
Say, here's a 50-1 shot. Altruism.
Altruism? I never heard of him.
I got a hunch.
Well, play it. Always play hunches. Let's see who this altruism is. Never raced before.
Then how do you know he's no good?
Well, I don't, but look who he's running against. War Alarm, unbeaten in 3 starts. Test Tube, last year's Gold Cup runner-up, and File Clerk. Oh, say, there's a hunch for you, Eddie.
I ain't no file clerk, and I'm playing altruism if you don't mind.
Okay, Eddie, okay. Just give me your $2.
Is that all I can bet?
Well, no, Eddie, but, gee, I don't want to play you for a sucker.
How about $2,000?
Oh, why don't you tie that bull to a fence?
Will you take $2,000 on altruism?
On the level, Eddie?
Sure as tonight's Christmas Eve.
Where would you get that kind of dough?
Borrow it from the boss?
Well, I'll have to get Flint's okay. Let me use your phone, huh?
Go ahead.
$2,000. Oh, well, that's not stage money, Eddie.
Neither is $100,000. Could you pay off?
Well, sure. Flint will cover any bet I make. Hello. Give me Flint. See, this Flint is a very smart cookie. Maybe he don't want it. Oh, hello, Mike. This is Fink. Look, there's a man's got $2,000 he wants to put on an ad called Altruism in the 3rd at Tropical. The odds are 50-1. How about it? Uh-huh. Yeah, but if he wins, Mike. Well, sure I'm a gambler, but 50-1. Hey! The guy hung up. Funny guy, this Flint. Am I a gambler, he says. Well, okay, Eddie. We'll play $2,000 on Altruism's nose for you, okay?
Well, all right, but it's a lot of dough to hand over to someone I never saw before.
Well, I never saw you before either, mister.
Yeah, but what chance are you taking?
Look, quit stalling, Eddie. Are you betting or not?
Okay. Wait till I get the money. Here it is. 1,000, 1,100, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Makes $2,000.
Thanks, Eddie. What you shaking for? Is this your life savings or something?
No. There's lots more where this came from.
Oh, of course. You're independently wealthy.
Oh, yeah. That's it, Fink. Gee, you're a card.
Oh, card. Oh, gee, I almost forgot. Here's my card, and here's your ticket. Now, hang on to it. Might be worth $100,000.
Okay, Fink,
Hey, you all right? You look kind of green.
You've just been looking at too much dough, Fink.
Maybe. Now, you drop around this afternoon about 3. The address is on the card. Your dog is running in. Goodbye, Altruism.
So long, Fink.
So long, Eddie.
Hello?
Sullivan, this is Mr. Bartholomew.
Yes, sir.
Speak up.
Yes, sir.
That's better, Sullivan. Sullivan, I want you to send a nice new $100 bill to the 2nd Street Mission. Put it in a plain envelope and don't write anything with it. Wrap it in a piece of paper so no one will know what it is at the post office. I want to send a nice little anonymous gift as a surprise. A nice, crisp $100 bill.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bartholomew. 2nd Street Mission. I may send them a little something myself later. Yeah.
Eddie, it's okay. I got by.
What?
I'm clear. That auditor missed it. What's the matter? Aren't you glad?
You mean you ain't going to jail?
No, not this year.
Are you sure, Sam?
Positive, Eddie. The auditors are through. Not a chance of getting caught.
Not a chance, Sam?
Not a chance, Eddie.
There could be a slip-up.
No, there couldn't. But what's the matter with you? Aren't you glad for me?
Sure. Look, already I'm doing handsprings.
Oh, boy. Of course, it doesn't solve things completely.
You said it.
I'm still short, but that's okay.
Oh, sure.
I'll think of something. I got a whole year. No more unknown benefactors, though.
I'm very glad.
Eddie, I don't quite get it, though. Bartholomew buttering me up. He says, we know everything is in good shape, Sam. No use putting these auditors to any more trouble. Just have them check the cash on hand, and that'll wind it up.
The cash?
Yeah.
Sam, hand me that Dixie cup by the typewriter.
Yeah, sure. You dry?
Very. How are you going to get the $100,000 back in the books?
Oh, I don't know. Why?
Maybe I can raise some dough.
You couldn't raise a Venetian blind. But what are you worrying for? I'm out of a jam.
And I'm in.
What are you... What's on your mind?
Just 2 or 3 years, that's all.
And now I suppose you're going to tell me you've been swiping postage stamps.
No. Nothing as bad as that. Look, I'm your pal, Sam.
Well, sure.
I'd do anything for you.
Then talk sense.
I hated to think of you in Sing Sing for 6 months, Sam, so... I'm going there myself for a few years.
What do you say?
I took $2,000 and bet it on a 50-to-1 shot at Tropical Park, Sam.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I did it. Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
No, tell me you're kidding me, Eddie.
I did it for you, Sam, for Christmas.
What?
A guy don't get a chance to prove his friendship very often.
Friendship? You talk of friendship at a time like this? We're both as good as in Sing Sing right now.
And me the longest.
I hope so. Of all the dumb tricks. And you didn't make any entries, huh?
No. Just took it.
Eddie, how'd you come to bet on a horse? You never made a bet. What bookies do you know?
Here's his card. He just happened in by accident.
A truck should just happen by accident to run over you.
Maybe he'd give it back, Sam.
Oh, sure. Bookies are that way. Philanthropists. All of them. Besides, there's probably no such address as this.
Oh, don't be hard on me, Sam. After all, I risked my own neck to save yours.
No greater love.
And maybe this horse will win.
A 50-to-1?
Well?
Let me see that card. Well, all we can do is try and get the dough back.
He was awful nice, Sam.
Oh, shut up. Nice. Look, fake an entry in the books. Then we'll pay Mr. Fink Freeze a call. Friendship.
Yeah, friendship. We're in this together, pal.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Eddie Cantor in Double Entry, tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Happy days are here again. Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Hey, Donner, why the sudden switch? You were sadder than a bride's first batch of biscuits a few minutes ago.
Oh, Santa changed his mind. He's sticking to tradition, and I'm going back to work.
Well, good for you.
It's even better for you. Santa thinks your Autolite Stay-Full batteries are so good, he's decided to bring one to every car owner.
Gosh, what a wonderful way to be greeted Christmas morning. Imagine finding one of these brawny bundles of endless energy, the Autolite Stay-Full battery that needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use, all wrapped up in red ribbon under your tree. But speaking of Christmas greetings, friends, I have a card here, and it's addressed to you. It says, may your holiday this year be the cheeriest ever, and it's signed the Autolite folks. To that, let me add Merry Christmas wishes from all of us on Suspense. Happy holiday to you all.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage our star Eddie Cantor with Sidney Miller in Double Entry, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
On the subway up to the bookie's place, I didn't say a word. I just stared at the ads and kept thinking of how I'd messed things up and wondering what Sam was thinking. The window we sat near had bars on it, and I felt I was already in jail. Well, we got to the bookies. It was a great big large room.
The track is now fast at Tropical Park.
Well, if it ain't the millionaire bookkeeper. Hi, Eddie.
Oh, hello there, Fink.
Welcome to our humble joint. Of course, it ain't like Hialeah.
No, but it's as close to it as we can get in New York, I know.
This is Sam Crockett, Fink, my friend.
Oh, glad to meet you, Mr. Crockett. Smart man you got working with you. He's going to make himself a pile of dough this afternoon, aren't you, Eddie?
Look, fella, this is all a mistake.
Huh?
Eddie had no business betting $2,000 on a horse. The fact is, it wasn't his money.
Well, I am surprised.
You see, he was trying to help someone.
So he helped himself to $1,000, huh?
Think, give us a break and return the money. We'll both go to jail if we don't put it back.
Scratch Doughboy number 6.
I'm very sorry, fellas, but I can't do nothing. I've turned in the dough. I just work here. I can't get that back.
Oh, you've got to help us, Fink.
Look, I'd like to, Crockett, but how can I? This is a business. Now, supposing I ask the boss. He says it's a contract. He can't back out, neither can you. Where would we be if we asked you to take your money back?
Yeah, but don't you see, we'll go to Sing Sing
2
Fink.
minutes to post time for the 3rd at Tropical Place. Your bets now, men.
Yeah, maybe those bills were counterfeit. You could tell the cashier the dough's no good, huh?
Now, how can I, Eddie? He can spot a phony from 50 yards.
Look, Fink. The auditors are checking our books now.
All I can say is I'm very sorry, and I hope this nag wins for you. But I can't do a thing about it.
In the 3rd.
Oh, we're sunk, Eddie.
I'm really sorry, boys. I should have known better than to take your dough.
He sounded like he meant it, Sam.
So what? Come on, let's go.
Ain't you interested in hearing the race over the loudspeaker?
No.
Well, I am. It's me who started this. I'm going to get my money's worth.
That's Tropical in the 3rd. A correction. Sylvester is riding altruism.
Did you hear that, Sam?
You mean we get a jockey?
Now, don't be funny. This guy Sylvester is hot. He's winning
That's
2 or 3 races
Tropical
a
in the
day.
3rd. They're away at 3:17.
They're off, Sam.
I got ears.
Oh, gosh.
At the quarter, it's War Alarm, Dive Bomber, Calumet Powell, Done In, Westwood Ho, File Clerk, Valiant Ned, Mashy, Niblick, Timid Soul, Golden West, Test Tube, Auction Block, Early Riser, and altruism.
No wonder you got 50 to 1. There's 50 horses.
That's not a race. It's a caravan.
Last place. Now, are you satisfied?
Okay, Sam, let's go. Seabiscuit couldn't win in a crowd like that unless he cut across the infield.
Oh, you sure pick 'em.
Come on. What are you waiting for?
I'm not waiting. Quit pushing me.
Am I pushing
At
you?
the half,
Listen.
Valiant Ned by a length. War Alarm is 2nd, Test Tube is 3rd. Dive Bomber 4th, Done In, Calumet Powell, Westwood Ho, File Clerk, Timid Soul, Golden West, Early Riser, Mashy Niblick, Altruism, and Auction Block has dropped out.
That nag is taking the pause that refreshes.
Well, he's come up.
If enough drop out, he can win.
Yeah, the race would have to last 2 days, huh?
Why didn't they run it in heats?
Well, might as well hang around till the end, huh, Sam?
Well, I
In the
guess so.
stretch, Valiant Ned is still leading by a length. Test Tube is 2nd. War Alarm is 3rd. And coming up is Altruism.
Did he say altruism?
He said it. Get the results.
Hey, Porky, how about the finish?
Coming over the line now, Fink.
Sylvester, ride, boy, ride.
Don't wring your hands. It's too late to pray. The race is over.
Who's the winner?
How do I know? The wire is always a minute behind.
Eddie, we got a chance. Christmas comes but once a year.
That's too close for comfort. Oh, why did Flint let me take that bet?
The winner of the 3rd of Tropical is Altruism.
No, my horse. Yours, mine. He won. Sam, he won.
No, he won.
He won, Eddie. Well, am I a chump now?
You're a champ, Eddie, a champ.
Oh, it was nothing, Sam.
Only a sap could do it.
Thanks, Sam.
Holy smoke, this does it.
Think I almost forgot. You got to fork over the money.
Yeah, that just about busts this joint. Look, how about calling it off?
Remember what you said about contracts?
Well, yeah, if I'd have known they were switching Sylvester on that dog.
Come on, when do we get paid off?
Well, right now, Crockett. Come on over to the cashier.
Cash? Do we have to take cash?
Oh, absolutely. Here, give me your ticket.
Here.
Now, here's the cashier at this window. 100 grand, Speed.
Look, the cashier don't bat an eye. I'm going to take the money. The cops!
What?
It's a race! How about I do?
Grab that cashier!
He's going out the back door! Well, the cops jugged everyone in the place. Fink and the other gamblers got away with 100 grand, and we had to wait until Christmas morning for a hearing, but every silver lining has a rip in it.
I don't see how they got away. Oh, am I sore. We sit here in the can and they're off with all that dough.
We were framed, Sam. The whole thing was planned.
Oh, you're crazy. How'd think no altruism would win? You can't turn on a police raid like a shower bath.
Well, how are we ever going to find those guys?
We won't. And if we do, it won't do us any good. Because you haven't got the ticket anymore. And even if you had, you couldn't force them to pay because bookmaking isn't legal. It's gambling.
Keep on. I love to hear your ulcer talk.
Oh.
And it fits so nicely with these surroundings.
Well, you might as well get used to it. We'll be living in quarters like this for some time.
Quiet, Sam. Here comes the keeper.
And he's got Fink with him.
Good. He deserves to be in jail, the dirty...
Hello, Eddie. I got something for you.
I'm sorry. I'm just not interested in tips, that's all.
Oh, no, Eddie, you don't understand. I just come to say Merry Christmas. And this is for you, Eddie.
For me?
What is that? Open it, Eddie.
Look, Sam, $2,000.
$2,000?
That's right. That's all I got. It's my own dough. Mike Flint blew town, so this is the best I can do, Eddie.
Oh, gee, thanks, Fink. Thanks, you're a prince.
Just call him Santa Claus. So there I was, back where I started, at scratch. All I had to do was to put the dough back in the cash drawer. They made us pay a $10 fine, and we got home in time for Christmas dinner. The next morning, we took the subway downtown. Sam read the paper, and I just stared at the ads as usual.
Eddie, quite a story about altruism. Picture of Sylvester. Just a kid, 19, weighs 105.
Look at that ad. It says to spell it backwards. If they want you to read it that way, why didn't they turn it around?
Yeah. Eddie, look.
I don't know why they... What is it, Sam?
Look, this picture. It's Bartholomew.
Where? They've arrested him. What for?
Embezzlement, Eddie.
But that's you, Sam.
Listen to this. Bartholomew confessed to having embezzled company funds to the tune of $250,000 when auditors discovered a shortage in cash of $2,000. So that's why he was hurrying those guys around.
Let me see.
Look.
What a business. Everyone in it is a crook. Hey, Sam. Sam, where you going?
Back to the police station. I'm giving myself up.
Giving yourself up, but Sam...
No, Betty. I'd never sleep again if I escape scot-free. Besides, I'd like to get away from Alice for 6 months.
But Sam... When nobody was looking, I slipped the $2,000 back into the cash drawer, and Sam went to the police and gave himself up. But guess what? They didn't want him. They already had their man. Sam wrote out a confession, offered to show them the books, but they just laughed at him. Called him a publicity seeker. He pleaded with them, but it was no use. Even Bartholomew called him a fool. Imagine Sam fought for the right to go to prison, and they laughed at him. Then he went to the newspapers, even to the district attorney, explaining what he'd done with the money. But they wouldn't believe him either. That's the thing that finally broke Sam's heart. No one would believe that he was the famous unknown benefactor. They told him, "Go on, Santa Claus. Go back to your reindeer." Sam would have preferred a few quiet months in Sing Sing breaking rocks. He could have got rid of his ulcers. He would have got away from Alice. But no.
Hey, Eddie, hand me that Dixie cup, will you?
Your ulcers bothering you again, Sam?
Yeah, something awful. Keeping ledger straight is driving me nuts.
Oh, Sam.
Suspense, presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Eddie Cantor with Sidney Miller.
Well, Eddie, Suspense is a far cry from your Sunday night Take It or Leave It show.
Oh, not so far. There's a lot of suspense when we get to the $64 question.
Well, to make you feel at home here, Eddie, I've prepared a question for you to ask me.
I'll bet I know the category, batteries.
What else?
All right. Where's the question?
Right here on this slip of paper.
Let's see. It reads, is there anything that uses less water than an Autolite Stay-Full battery? Now, isn't that a silly question to ask you, Harlow?
Yes, it is, Eddie. The answer is so obvious. Why, Autolite Stay-Full batteries need water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
Any more questions?
No, Eddie, and thank you. Friends, Autolite Stay-Full batteries are made by Autolite, who make more than 400 other products for cars, trucks, planes, and boats in 28 plants coast to coast. These include complete electrical systems used as original equipment on many makes of America's finest cars. Batteries, spark plugs, generators, coils, distributors, starting motors, and bullseye sealed beam headlights. All engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly because they're a perfect team. So don't accept electrical parts supposed to be as good. Ask for and insist on Autolite, original factory parts at your neighborhood service station, car dealer, garage, or repair shop. Remember, you're always right with Autolite. And friends, once again, Merry Christmas to all, and to all, good night. Next Thursday for Suspense, Ida Lupino will be our star. The play is called The Bullet, and it is, as we say,
a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Tonight's Suspense play was produced and edited by William Spear and directed by Norman MacDonald. Music for Suspense is composed by Lucien Moraweck and conducted by Lud Gluskin. Double Entry is an original radio play by Robert Minton.
You can buy Autolite Stay-Full batteries, Autolite resistor or regular spark plugs, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
A Hallmark card when you care enough to send the very best. Tonight, from Hollywood, the makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you Mr. James Hilton in Herta Pauley's The Story of Silent Night on the Hallmark Playhouse. Each week, Hallmark brings you outstanding stories chosen by one of the world's best-known authors, Mr. James Hilton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Hilton. Tonight on our Hallmark Playhouse, we tell you the story of how that wonderful Christmas song, Silent Night, came to be written 130 years ago. This story was told recently to a writer named Herta Pauley by the grandson of the man who wrote the music of Silent Night. Christmas, the year of our Lord 1948. 1,948 years from the miracle of Bethlehem. Christmas, the birth date of the Prince of Peace. The birth date of hope and faith. The birth date of a miracle. In Bethlehem, 3 kings knelt and proffered gifts from the east. Since Bethlehem, many gifts, recorded and unrecorded, have been created of man's love of God and humbly offered in his honor. What you are to hear tonight will tell you of one such gift offered by 2 humble men 130 years ago this Christmas week. This, too, is the story of a miracle that was born one silent night. All is calm, all is bright, from yon virgin mother and child. We are going back now to the arches of the years, back 130 Christmas Eve, to meet a man named Joseph Moore, Father Joseph Moore. Those voices you can just barely distinguish are all voices that have said Merry Christmas through the years. Their sentiment remains and lingers on the Christmas air like a blessing. And now we are in the Austrian Alps, in a small village. The year is 1818. In the center of the town, near a swift-flowing stream, stands a whitewashed church with a tall, red-topped steeple. There are the church bells. They have a special joyousness tonight as all church bells seem to have on Christmas Eve. Come now, we'll meet Father Moore. He's in his study, and his heart's a little heavy, because the church organ has broken down, and there'll be no music for the Christmas service.
Good evening, Father Moore.
Oh, good evening. Come in.
You don't know me, Father, but I'm in your parish. I've come from one of the charcoal makers' families. A child has been born to them tonight, and they beg that you come and bless the baby, that it may live and prosper.
Have I time to go and return for my sermon?
Yes, Father.
Well, then I'll go at once.
And so it was that on Christmas Eve of the year 1818, Father Joseph Moore followed a woman up the rocky foothills of the Alps to a simple hut and blessed a baby on Christmas Eve.
Seems like a miracle that her child should be born this night.
Birth itself is a miracle. God has blessed her with a beautiful son on the most holy night of the year. And God has blessed me by guiding me here.
Father Moore walked down the snowy mountain, transfixed, transfigured. He thought of the baby and of the sacred night, and words began to stir and form themselves within him.
Holy night, silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright.
Round yon virgin mother and child.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright.
Round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright.
How simple is the coming of a miracle to a stable in Bethlehem, to the heart of a man. After Father Moore had solemnized the Mass, he sat all night in his study, writing down the words that filled his heart. And when dawn came, he took the poem he had written to Franz Gruber.
Father, this is a fine poem.
I rather heard it as a song, Franz. I thought you might set it to music.
Thank you, Father. I should like to try.
And so the words that Father Moore had heard on Christmas Eve became music to Franz Gruber on Christmas Day. And before nightfall, he came to Father Moore's house.
I've written the music, Father. I wrote it for guitar and voice rather than the organ. After all, we have no way of knowing when the organ can be used.
Please, sing it. Let me hear it.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round young virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly
In a neighboring Austrian province lies a valley, the Zillertal, and from the Zillertal, a few days after Christmas, came the organ builder, Karl Mauracher.
Well, now, Father Moore, Mr. Gruber, I think I have the organ in working order now. The mice had eaten holes in the bellows, but this leather patch should solve all your problems.
May I try it?
Well, go ahead. Never heard that song before, Father.
Franz and I wrote it at Christmas.
I've never heard a song like it. Would you teach me? I know people would like to learn it down in the Zillertal.
We'll be happy to teach it to you. Won't we, Franz?
We will be honored.
And so the hymn that was born on Christmas night started its journey out into the wide world. Karl Mauracher took the song down into the Zillertal. Silent Night was on its way from a small church high in the Alps to the cathedrals of the earth. All the children in the Zillertal loved to sing, and they all sang well. But of them all, the ones with the most beautiful voices were the 4 Strasser children, Caroline, Joseph, Andreas, and Amalie. And the organ builder worked painstakingly to teach them the song. On Christmas Eve, they stood in the doorway and sang it as a Christmas gift for their parents.
What a wonderful Christmas gift.
You sang that beautifully. I'm proud of you.
The organ builder taught it to us.
Thank you, Mr. Mauracher.
I hoped in the spring when Mr. Strasser takes the gloves to sell at the Fair in Leipzig, perhaps he would find a way for you to sing the song there.
Sing at the fair.
We aren't good enough to do that.
We could never do it.
Why do you want him to sing the song there, Mr. Mauracher? Well, to me, this song is almost like a song from heaven. The words came to Father Moore on Christmas Eve. The melody to the schoolmaster, Gruber, on Christmas Day. They gave it to their parish, and then it was given to me to carry down into the valley of the Zillertal. I, in turn, give it to you to take to Leipzig. Someone in Leipzig will take it on the next step of its journey.
Where is it going?
Who knows, little Amalie? Perhaps everywhere.
But who in Leipzig?
I don't know that either. But someone will make him or herself known to you, and the song from heaven will go on across the earth. Will you take it to Leipzig and send it on its way?
Oh, yes. Of course we will.
Who are you children?
They are my children, sir. I'm Strasser from the Zillertal. This is my glove stand. We're here at the fair to sell chamois gloves.
Your children have beautiful voices, Mr. Strasser.
Yes. They sing every afternoon, and the people stop to listen to them just as you saw today.
And do they also buy the gloves?
Yes, I think it helps business. In any case, it does not harm it.
It was their song that caught my attention.
The song, sir?
Yes, I have never heard it before. My name is Polenz. I am the Director General of Music in the Kingdom of Saxony.
The Director General of Music?
Yes, I wanted to ask you children if you would care to appear at a concert one of these days.
A concert?
Oh, that would be terrible.
I'm afraid they aren't experienced enough, Mr. Polenz.
We must do it. We promised Mr. Morocco we've got to do it.
It doesn't matter if we aren't good, as long as we sing it.
We'll be happy to sing at a concert, Mr. Pollens.
Well, we may not be happy, but we'll do it.
Good. Next Tuesday, then, at the Gewandhaus, there will be an orchestra concert. Perhaps at the close of the concert, you will honor us with this song. The King and Queen will be there.
The King and Queen?
Your Majesty,
Your Highness, we are honored.
Honored?
Well, children, don't look at the floor. Look at us. We want to see your faces.
I think they have a slight case of fright, Your Majesty.
We don't want you to be afraid of us. We have children just about your age.
Mr. Pollens has told us you sing a wonderful song that you call a song from heaven. We're looking forward to hearing it.
If we just didn't have to sing it before all those people.
Now, some of them are the same people you sang it for at the fair.
Your Majesty, it's almost time for the concert to start. With your permission.
Just close your eyes, children, and pretend you're singing at home.
Silent night, holy night, all is bright.
And the king and queen smiled and listened, and listening with them was the director of the Berlin Cathedral Choir. It was he who heard the song in Leipzig and took it on the next step of its journey to Berlin and the court of the emperor.
Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly
In a moment, James Hilton will return to bring you the second act of The Story of Silent Night. You've been so busy buying gifts for others, now let me tell you about a Christmas present for you from the friendly store where you find Hallmark greeting cards. It's a Hallmark date book. I have one in my hand now, and what a little beauty it is, from the colorful camellia on the cover to the last pink and white page in the book. It's just the right size to tuck away in your purse or keep beside your telephone, and so useful you'll always be referring to it. Just inside the cover, there's a place for your name and a list of important dates, like Easter and Mother's Day. Turn the page, and there's a calendar for January 1949, with a space beside each date jotting down things to remember, social engagements, appointments, anniversaries. There's also room for names and addresses of people you want to remember during January. And so for every month of the year, right through to December. You'll find it especially valuable right now, because at the back of the book there's a place for your next year's Christmas card list, room for names and addresses, and an easy way to mark Christmas cards sent and cards received. You'll find so many uses for this handy Hallmark date book. Why not get your copy right away? It's yours without obligation, a Christmas gift to you from the friendly store where you find Hallmark greeting cards. Now back to James Hilton and the second act of The Story of Silent Night.
Those voices are the men of the Berlin Cathedral Choir, singing for the Emperor on Christmas Day. There's the Emperor in the royal pew, singing with them. No, he stopped singing. Look at his face. He's glaring at that hymn book.
What do you mean you don't know who wrote that song? Are you my concertmaster or are you not my concertmaster?
Well, I am your concertmaster at the moment, sire.
Now look at the hymn book. Just look at this page. What does it say?
Silent Night.
And what else does it say?
Author and composer unknown.
I want to know who wrote that hymn. Concertmaster, you've spoiled my whole Christmas, the trees, the gifts, even the dinner. If a thing is unknown, I wish it made known. I want order in my hymn book. I want it as soon as possible. You would start out today in search of the name of the composer of Silent Night.
Yes, sire.
And so it was that Concertmaster Ludwig Erck started out to trace the origin of Silent Night. He went to big cities, he went to small villages. He talked to the young, to the old. Long, worrisome months kept pace beside him. And at last, even though he knew what he had to face in the anger of the king, he knew he had to give up. He sat, alone and disconsolate, in a small village inn near the Austrian border.
Will there be anything else, sir?
No, that'll be all. Oh, hush.
You don't like the bird's song, sir?
The bird? I thought it was my own mind. That's the song I've been hunting for. Who taught it to him?
I don't know, sir. A traveler sold him to us. The man said he had bought the bird in Salzburg in St. Peter's Abbey.
Salzburg? Well, then, I shall go to Salzburg.
To Salzburg, to St. Peter's Abbey, which had been built 1,000 years after the birth of Christ. Concertmaster Erck walked through a dark pillared archway into a vaulted room and stood where Father Joseph Moore had stood so many times in the years gone by.
Silent Night? No, I have no recollection of it. How did you happen to come to us, sir?
I heard a bullfinch in the tune, Father. The innkeeper told me the bird came from this abbey.
No, we don't allow any of our students to train songbirds here. We consider it a cruel practice to deprive God's creatures of their freedom.
I see. Well, perhaps it was a mistake.
Come, it's late. Have some dinner with us and then spend the night.
Yes?
Oh, you're hurting my ear.
Well, what is this?
Herr Ambrosius Pensteiner, the choir inspector here at the Abbey. And this is young Felix Gruber.
Oh, my ear. I'm going to tell my father on you.
I was told about your inquiries concerning the bullfinch. This young rascal trained him.
You trained him?
It didn't hurt the bird.
Where did you learn that song that you taught him?
The song?
You heard the gentleman, the song.
My father wrote it.
Your father?
Yes, sir.
Where is your father?
In the village of Helene.
Helene? Mr. Pensteiner, do you think you could arrange for this boy to have a day or two off so I could go with him to Helene?
Well, you'll have to talk to the abbot, but I'm sure it can be arranged.
And now young Felix Gruber and Concertmaster Erck are tucked in a fine sleigh behind a team of the Abbey's finest horses. The bells sing out gaily across the clean, crisp air, and the snow crunches under the horses' hooves. Now they are going through the pass above Helene, and now they are skimming down the main street to the market square before the church. And now they are pulling up before the small, friendly house which is the home of Franz Gruber. And so it was at last. Concertmaster Erck sat with the composer of Silent Night.
Mr. Gruber, I bring you and Father Moore the compliments of the king and the whole country.
Well. Father Moore is dead. God rest his soul, these 6 years past.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, he was a fine man. Do you have all 6 stanzas to the song?
No, we have only 4.
Felix, hand me the guitar, please.
Here, Father.
Silent night, holy night, calling forth all the might of our Father's love and grace.
the words and the facts are taken down, and above the music will be the names Gruber and Moore. Concertmaster Erck walks out to the snow after dinner, and as he walks, he looks up at the snow-covered Alps that Father Moore loved. And Franz Gruber watches him from the window and wishes regretfully that Father Joseph Moore had been here to see his song brought back in triumph to the village of Hallein. So you have journeyed back 130 Christmas Eves to meet a man named Father Joseph Moore, and the schoolteacher, Franz Gruber, and Karl Mauracher, the organ builder, and the Strassers, and all the rest who had a part in carrying the song from a village high in the Alps down into the world. Yes, now it has bridged 130 Christmas Eves. Now it has been sung by the old and the young, the rich and the poor. It has been sung in every language, in every country of the world. It has become a prayer that men can live together in one world as brothers, and that there be indeed peace on earth, goodwill toward men. You have heard the story of a miracle that was born one silent night.
Before James Hilton returns to tell you about our story for next week, I'd like to tell you about Hallmark New Year's cards. They're as bright and gay as a New Year's party. They're a thoughtful expression of friendship, and they're the best way I know to remember someone you may have overlooked when you sent your Christmas card. Remember, these are Hallmark cards. When friends receive them and glance at the back, as you did, they'll see the Hallmark and know you cared enough to send the very best. Here again is James Hilton.
The story of Silent Night and the music you have just heard has all the beauty and joy and happiness of Christmas. There's nothing anyone can add to it. But I would like to introduce the man who's responsible for the splendid music you've just heard. I know you'd like to meet him, because so many of you have written us to praise his music. He's Lynn Murray, the musical director of the Hallmark Playhouse, whose work contributes so much to the success of our performances every week. Lynn, I personally want to thank you, not only on my own behalf, but for all our Hallmark people everywhere, for helping to make our Playhouse musically outstanding.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. You know, I enjoy working with you and all the rest of the people here. It's very satisfying to be with people who are always working toward perfection. But I suppose that's quite natural when you realize that our sponsors are the people who make Hallmark cards. You know, Jimmy, writing music for a dramatic presentation has a parallel in the making of greeting cards. In our work, we try to compose the exact music to fit the story that is being told, to underline every mood, character, and change of scene. And Hallmark greeting cards always seem to express the fitting sentiment for every occasion. And by the way, I want to ask our audience to be sure to listen next week when we will dramatize your own book, Lost Horizon, with one of Hollywood's finest actors, Herbert Marshall. And the following week, it'll be our pleasure to present Louis Bromfield's MacLeod's Folly, starring Robert Young.
And now, for all of us here in the Playhouse, for our director-producer, Dee Engelbach, for Jean Holloway, who dramatized tonight's story, for the Hallmark dealers whom you see in your own cities, for everyone who is proudly a member of the Hallmark family, we wish you, our friends, a very, very Merry Christmas. Until next Thursday, then, this is James Hilton saying good night.
Look for Hallmark cards that are sold only in stores that have been carefully selected to give you expert and friendly service. Remember Hallmark cards when you care enough to send the very best. This is Frank Goss saying good night to you all until next week at the same time when James Hilton returns to present Herbert Marshall in Lost Horizon, and the following week MacLeod's Folly starring Robert Young. This program came to you from the Hallmark Playhouse. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Hiya, babe. Say, how about... Ow!
Does that answer your question, buddy?
The Adventures of Maisie, starring Ann Southern. You all remember Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's famous Maisie picture. In just a moment, you'll hear Maisie in radio, starring the same glamorous star you all went to see and loved on the screen, Ann Southern. But first, your announcement. Here's Ann Southern as Maisie.
Yep, I'm Maisie, like the man said. I don't ask anything of life, and I don't get anything. So that's sort of breaking even, ain't it? I guess when I was a kid, I was vaccinated with a road map, because as far back as I can remember, I've been traveling. Right now, I'm in Reno. Oh, no, not for the usual reason. I ain't never been married yet. Also, I've been kicked around a lot by men of the opposite sex. And the way I figure it, there's only two kinds of men. Those you can trust and the majority. Anyway, here I am in Reno looking for the Blue Peacock Club. My agent got me a job there as a singer. I'm supposed to sing sad songs to make ex-wives and ex-husbands homesick. So they'll hurry home, marry somebody else, and then come back to Reno and start all over again. Ouch!
Say, why don't you look where you...
You? Jack Fuller.
Maisie Revere.
Say,
what are you doing?
Ladies first, Jack. What are you doing in Reno, the world's most famous separation center?
Well, it's this way, Maisie. I married a girl.
Well, you couldn't have made a better choice.
It ain't funny, McGee. You see, I love her.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack. Care to tell me about it?
Well, it's this way, Maisie. Mm-hmm. I met Gloria. That's my wife. Mm-hmm. Right after I quit the job at the airplane factory you and I worked at.
Oh, yeah. I remember that place. You were vice president in charge of training boat number 268, and I was in charge of 269. That is until the explosion.
I liked you, Maisie. A lot.
Mm.
You were different.
Yeah. But Gloria was differenter, huh?
Yeah. Say, this isn't the place to pour out my heart. How's about a soda, Maisie?
Love to. I'm a little dry after walking across the great American desert.
You walked?
Sure. The railroad only sells tickets to people with money. Some silly rule they got.
Golly, you must be real thirsty.
Well, I could use a drink. I stopped off at a little Mirage, but they were closed for lunch.
Well, come on.
Yeah, what'll it be, folks?
I'll just have a Coke.
What about you, miss?
Well, I'll have a double chocolate sundae with coconut, and whipped cream, marshmallow, bananas, and some shredded nuts.
No cherry?
Well, of course not. You think I want to get sick?
I hate myself for asking. 1 hash frozen.
And that's the story, Maisie. You see, after the wedding, I found out that Gloria wasn't exactly penniless. She had a fortune. It was terrible.
Some terrible, I'll say.
You see, her father was from Texas. He was a millionaire.
Well, naturally.
Well, when we got married, she agreed to live on what I make. Oh, I do all right. But one day...
You had a fight?
Yeah. How did you know we had a fight?
Well, that's obvious. You were married.
Yeah. But this wasn't just a plain little disagreement. You see...
Here's your Coke, mister. And here's your little tidbit, miss.
Thanks. Hey, wait a minute, Sonny. I can't eat this.
Who can?
You forgot a spoon.
Oh, here you are, miss. Coconut, whipped cream, marshmallow.
Now, Jack, where were we?
Up to the breakup, I think. Maisie, I can't figure Gloria's change of heart. She still loves me. I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah? Then why is she going to court tomorrow for a divorce?
Look, Sonny, nobody asked you.
Yeah.
Maisie, you've just got to stop her from getting that divorce.
Stop her? How can I stop her?
Yeah, how can she stop her?
Well, I don't... Come on, Maisie, let's get out of here and go someplace where we can talk undisturbed. Here's your money, long ears.
Yeah, so long, Mr. Anthony. Sorry we can't stay for you to hear the rest. But this conversation is calculated to keep you in suspense.
Hey, miss, you left your gum parked on the stool.
Oh, that's all right. If I don't call for it in 30 days, it's yours. Well, you haven't answered the question yet, Jack. How am I supposed to stop the divorce?
I don't know, but you've got to do it. Even if you have to kidnap Gloria.
But kidnapping's a federal offense, honey. Besides, I won't have the time. I got a job.
Look, Maisie, I love her.
Oh, dear. Well, how about starting at the beginning and letting me in on a few of the details? Like, what's all this about,
Well, Gloria was away visiting Daphne Ashburn when, well, all of a sudden her letters stopped.
Daphne Ashburn?
Uh-huh.
That don't listen like a gal you can trust.
Could be. You see, Daphne's a distant relation, a cousin twice removed.
Yeah, but she wasn't removed far enough, huh?
If Daphne's mixed up in this, I haven't been able to find it out. And I've tried. I tried to see Gloria and get an explanation.
And she wouldn't see you?
She had me thrown out of her hotel for pestering her.
Well, why don't you write her a letter?
I've written dozens. I don't believe she gets them. In fact, Maisie, I'm convinced something funny's going on. And I want you to move into that hotel and find out.
Hotel? Jack, when you move into a hotel, they always ask embarrassing questions. Like, when are you going to pay your bill?
I'll take care of the expenses. Now, here's a letter I've written, and if Gloria reads it, I think she'll give up this idea of a divorce. Some way I want you to get it to her and see that she reads it in person.
Well, I'll try, but I'm not...
Maisie, you've got to. You've got to find out who's poisoning Gloria's mind against me. You've got to stop that divorce.
But, Jack, you're asking me to be a detective, a regular private eye.
Please, Maisie, it means so much to me. Please.
Well, all right. And I've got a feeling that this may be one private eye that's headed for a punch in the nose. Yes?
It's Jerry the bellboy, Miss Maisie.
Oh. Come in, Jerry.
I came as soon as you called, and no woo-woo-woo.
Gee, must be this new sweater I'm wearing, Jerry. Your eyes are bumping against your glasses.
Here's the ice you ordered, Maisie.
Well, you better put it on your forehead, Jerry. You look like you're running a temperature.
Oh, okay.
Say, Jerry, maybe I can use you.
Huh?
I mean, I'd like you to do me a favor over and above your line of duty.
Well, I'm off duty at 5.
No, I don't mean that.
Oh.
Listen, Jerry, I got to see a certain woman in this hotel. Do you know Mrs. Gloria Fuller?
Oh, sure, Maisie, sure. Of course, I don't like that Miss Daphne Ashbourne that's always hanging around, or that oily Dr. Clays.
Dr. Clays?
Yeah, he's a doctor that treats Gloria.
Oh.
Only I can't see anything wrong with her, except maybe she's always sort of sleepy.
Sleepy?
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, how can I get in to see her?
Well, her husband was snooping around here till they threw him out, and it's a rule not to let anybody in to see her.
Oh, please, Jerry. Wouldn't you fix it? Just a little old me.
Oh, when you flutter your little old eyelashes like that at me, I'm your man. Look, it's the big suite at the end of the hall.
Yeah, at the end of the hall.
Yeah. I'm supposed to bring up Miss Gloria's mail about now. I'm a little late. So if you were to knock on the door, well, there you are.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. And one more thing. Well, what's Gloria Fuller like?
Oh, she's a sweetie pie. Say, she ain't wanted by Uncle Sam.
No, by Brother Jack.
Yes, come in, Jerry.
Excuse me, Mrs. Fuller, but...
I thought you were Jerry, the bellboy. Well, who are you?
I'm Maisie Revere, and I'm a good pal of your husband, and he loves you and wants you to read this letter, and he's such a swell guy. I think you're a fool if you're divorcing Gloria, and... Hey, wait a minute. You are Gloria Fuller, aren't you?
This is her room, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm supposed to give you this letter if you are. So here it is.
Thank you, but I'm sure it's no different from any of Jack's other letters. Now, if you'll excuse me...
Oh, no. I was supposed to make sure you read it in person. I promised Jack I wouldn't leave till you read it.
Oh, very well. Yes, just as I expected. Very well, you can tell Mr. Fuller that you kept your promise.
And you'll see him and talk to him?
Yes, in the divorce court tomorrow.
Oh.
Now, will you please leave?
Gee. You know, from what Jack and Jerry told me, I thought you'd be different.
Just what do you mean, different?
Well, they said you were a sweetie pie. But to me, you turned out to be all crust.
Such nerve. Why, you insolent cheap.
Cheap? Look, sister, I've been called lots of things in my time.
I'll bet you have. Now, please leave. I'm expecting friends for lunch.
Don't worry, Tootsie. I'm leaving. And be careful with that lunch. Don't tip over your saucer of milk.
Well, how do you figure that one, Daphne?
Slade, did you hear it all?
I happened to be bending over to tie my shoelace, and my ear came flush up to the keyhole.
Say, what if Gloria heard it?
Not a chance. Not with the sleeping pill I gave her. She'll be out for another half hour.
Good. Here's another letter. Can you take it up to your room and fix it up before she wakes up?
Naturally. I'll even have it fixed up before the beautiful Maisie gets through reporting back to Gloria's true loving husband. And I just wish I could hear what she has to say about the girl she thinks is the real Gloria.
Jerry, I've been looking for you for 2 hours.
Oh, well, I've been trying to help you solve this case, Maisie. So for the last couple hours, I've been upstairs, peeping in at Miss Gloria's keyhole.
Oh, did you find anything out, Jerry?
Yeah. She has a birthmark
Oh,
on her...
never mind. See, if I didn't give my solemn promise to Jack, I'd call the whole thing off. The next time I run into little Gloria, I hope I'm driving a truck.
Oh, gosh, but you wouldn't want to hurt Miss Gloria. Why, she's a doll. She's out of this world.
And I wish she'd stay out. Imagine that hunk of living proof that cousins shouldn't marry calling me cheap.
Oh, well, gosh, Maisie, she sure looks like an angel. Just look at her over there.
Where? I don't see her.
Sitting at that table right over there.
But that's not the woman I talked to. I mean, Jerry, who's that tall willowy girl coming to the table?
Well, that's Miss Daphne Ashbourne.
Oh, it is. And she told me she was Gloria Fuller, the female impersonator.
Maisie, where you going?
Well, now we'll see who can call me cheap. Say you.
This is the one, Gloria.
Are you Gloria Fuller?
Yes, I am, Miss Revere.
Well, now I smell a rat.
Oh, you do?
Yes, rat. Gloria, did you know that this woman passed herself off as you, and she read a letter from your husband, and Jack's one of the nicest guys in the world?
Yes, Miss Ashburn told me all about your visit at my suite.
Oh, she told you, huh?
Telephone call, Miss Ashburn. You can take it in the alcove there.
Oh, no, thank you, Jerry. I'll take it in my room. Well, I hope you're satisfied, Miss Peroxide of 1950.
Peroxide? Why,
Miss Revere, please.
Gee, what she makes me think of her. I should wash out my mind with DDT.
Miss Revere, I try not to think badly of anyone, so I suppose you don't know what was in Jack's letter.
Well, I didn't read it like old Needle knows, but I know he really loves you.
He does?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, he couldn't. In every letter he's written me lately, he's demanded money, a lot of money. That's why I broke off with him.
Oh, I don't believe it.
Well, here's the letter you brought. Here, I'll show you.
Let me see. I don't love you, so you can have your freedom. But I demand a 50-50 split of every cent you've got. Wait a minute. Is this Jack's writing?
I'd know it anywhere.
Oh, and dopey me. I thought he was a swell guy.
I used to think so, too.
Oh. Gee, I'm sorry I bothered you, Gloria. And please, if I were you, I wouldn't let this hurt me too much.
It does hurt us. Maybe I'm not as stout-hearted as you.
Oh, sure. Stout-hearted Maisie, that's me. A heart of oak and a head to match. Well, I'll tell that Jack Fuller a thing or two.
Hey, didn't you like him, Maisie?
Where's the phone booth, Jerry?
Oh, right around this corner.
I'll tell that Jack Fuller what a heel he is.
Here's a phone booth, Maisie. Oh, only there's somebody in it.
But I tell you, Daphne, I'm not drinking. No.
Jerry, that voice. Who is it?
Sounds like Dr. Clay.
I tell you no, Daphne, no.
Uh-huh. And he's talking to that Miss Daphne Ashford.
I was gambling, yes, and I've got to have some money. Now, look, you put $200 in an envelope and have Jerry the bellboy bring it to my room. Oh, why do you worry about money? We'll have plenty as soon as we get control of the Fuller dame. Sure, call Jerry right away.
Jerry, you're behind the booth.
Yeah, Maisie. There he goes.
Well, I guess I won't call Jack Fuller after all. Jerry, something's wrong here, and I'm going to find out about it.
Yeah, and I'll help you, Maisie. As soon as I take that money to Dr. Clay.
Wait a minute. You're not going to take it to him, Jerry. I am.
Oh, but, Maisie, I don't trust Dr. Claves. I don't like him.
I don't like him either, Jerry. But before I get through with him, I think he's going to like me. You see, I know men.
Really? How did you find out so much about men, Maisie?
I refuse to answer that, Jerry, on the grounds that it might incriminate me.
The Adventures of Maisie, starring Ann Southern, will continue in just a moment. Now back to Maisie.
Come in.
2 more triple zombies as you ordered, Maisie. Hey, where's Dr. Claves?
Under the table.
Gee, on only 12 zombies?
And you should have seen him after number 11. He just sat there like Whistler's mother, rocking.
Did he talk?
Yes, he talked plenty.
Oh, good. Oh, by the way, the barman said if I didn't get Dr. Claves to sign the bill for all those drinks, he'd bust me one in the mush. I hate to wake him, but
Well, you might as well. Here, I'll do it. Dr. Claves. Dr. Claves, wake up. Time for your DTs, honey.
What's that? Oh, beautiful, Maisie. Where you been all my life?
This is where I came in.
Dr. Claves, would you please sign for these drinks?
Are you able to sign for him, Dr. Claves?
Who, me? All right, sure.
Here's a pencil.
I don't need but one pencil.
I'm only handing you one.
Do you think you can sign, Dr. Claves?
Huh? Why, if Claves can't sign, who can? I'm an expert signer. Here. There.
Here are 2 more to sign.
There. And there.
Yeah. Thank you for signing.
Same to you, old pal. Drop in any time.
Oh, he's out again.
Yeah. You better make sure you can read his signature, Jerry.
Oh, sure. I can read it, Maisie. I'll say one thing. He sure writes a beautiful hand. He waves.
Well?
These signatures are all different, Maisie.
Huh?
I mean, same name, but not the same.
Jerry, are you sure you didn't sample one of those zombies?
No. Look.
Yeah. That's strange. One's all flowery and curly-cute, and one's backhand, and one's a... Jerry.
Yeah, Maisie, yeah?
Dr. Claves is a forger. And look, here's a brand new blotter he used to blot a letter. See if you can read what it says.
It's all backwards like.
Well, look, I'll hold it up here to the mirror, and you read it. There. What does it say?
It says, Dear Gloria.
Yeah.
I don't love you, so you can have your freedom.
Go on, Jerry, yeah.
But I demand a 50-50 split of every cent you've got.
That is it. Jerry, that's it.
Sure. What's what?
Dr. Claves took the real letter Jack Fuller wrote to Gloria, and he wrote this one instead.
Oh.
Now listen, Jerry. Here's what we'll do.
Yeah, Maisie.
We're going to take this blotter to the police as evidence. You get us a taxi while I call Jack and tell him to meet us at the police station.
Right.
And hold the cab till I get downstairs.
Right. I'm on my way.
Hello, operator. Operator. Yes, I want the Hotel Bellevue in a hurry. Mr. Jack Fuller, please.
Drop that phone.
Huh?
You heard me.
Go away, honey. Only one thing will stop me from making this call.
Drop that phone or I shoot.
That's the one thing. Miss Ashburn, is that thing in your hand?
It sure is, and I know how to shoot it, too. No, you don't. Don't try to hide that blotter. Hand it to me or I'll...
Sure. Who needs a dirty old blotter?
Don't play possum with me, honey. So you're on to Claves and his penmanship act, eh?
Yeah, and you can't get away with this, darling.
Oh, can't I?
No, you can't. I'll call the police.
You'll do nothing because you'll be lying here on the floor bound and gagged.
You wouldn't dare.
Oh, no? I'll do even more. Just to give you something to occupy your mind, I will tell you what Claves and Gloria and I will be doing while you're lying here.
Maisie, the taxi's been waiting for an hour. Did you get tied up? Holy smoke, you did get tied up. Here, Maisie, let me take off this gag. There. What happened?
Well, that Daphne Ashburn came in here with a gun, and she slapped Claves so she got him on his feet. Untie my hands and feet, Jerry.
Oh, sure.
While I was lying there tied up, she called Judge Carter and asked him to hear Gloria's divorce in his chambers today instead of tomorrow. Jerry, we got to work fast.
Well, you just tell me what to do, Maisie.
Well, go to the Hotel Belleville and tell Jack to get over to the judge's chambers fast.
Right. But, Maisie, where you going?
Well, it's probably already too late, but I'm going to try to stop that divorce.
There being no further testimony and evidence in the case of Fuller versus Fuller, the court is inclined to enter a bill of divorcement in favor of the plaintiff. Now, Mrs. Gloria Fuller, if you will just step to my desk and sign.
Yes, Judge Carter. I object. Your Honor, I object.
And just who might you be, young woman?
Well, I'm a friend of the groom. I mean, divorcee. I'm a friend of Jack Fuller, and he loves Gloria, and she doesn't really want a divorce if she only knew the facts.
May we have order, please?
And
although these are my private chambers, this is still a court of law. Mrs. Fuller, do you know this young woman?
Well, I've seen Judge Carter. She's pestered Gloria before. She's a cheap, phony blonde.
Phony? I'll show you the roots. I'll show you my baby picture.
Your Honor, would you allow me to speak for a moment as a doctor?
I'll allow anybody to speak if they'll clear up this nonsense. All right, Dr. Claves.
Thank you. This young woman is Maisie Revere. I had a chance to observe her very closely earlier today when she came to me as a patient.
I went to you as a patient. You were blotto and flat on your back.
What is this?
Please, Your Honor, I'm demonstrating something, so I ask you to listen closely. Now, Maisie, just how would you describe me to Judge Carter here?
I describe you as a heel who's been forging letters to make Gloria believe her husband is after her money.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
As you can see, Your Honor, this is obviously an acute case of hyperophronia.
That's a lie. I never had anything but the measles.
No, there now, Maisie, just be calm now. Do you know the meaning of hyperophronia?
Well, no. But I've been vaccinated, and I can prove it.
No, never mind.
Hey, wait a minute. Just what does it mean?
Suppose you tell her, Your Honor.
Well, that is to say, I'm not too familiar with some of these technical medical terms, but I take it means that a person...
Exactly, Your Honor. As nutty as a fur-lined fruitcake.
Now, wait a minute. Judge, you don't think I'm off my trolley, do you?
You're not even near the track.
Now, just a minute.
You came in here in a most fantastic manner, and you've made some exceedingly wild statements which are unsupported by evidence.
There, darling.
Please, Stephanie.
However, the court does not leave such matters to chance.
There for you, darling.
May we have order? As I was saying, the court's principal interest here is in seeing justice done to the person most concerned. Mrs. Fuller.
Yes, Judge Carter.
Now, I want you to consider your answer carefully, my dear. Do you want a divorce from your husband, Jack Fuller?
Well,
Of course you do, Gloria. You know all the things we've planned.
Well, Mrs. Fuller?
Well, I did love him, Judge, but... Yes, I do want a divorce.
All right, my dear. Just sign
Just
here.
a minute, Gloria. You still love your husband. He never did anything bad to you in his life, and all he wants is a chance.
I don't. I did love him, but now
Okay. If you don't want Jack Fuller, I do. The way he kisses.
What?
I object, Your Honor.
I always do, too, but Jack is so convincing.
It's not true. Jack wouldn't look at another woman.
You see, Jack, I told you she still loves you.
Maisie.
Oh, Jerry, where's Jack?
He wasn't in, so I left a message. And on the way over, I stopped at the police station to check on Dr. Clay.
Yeah.
You what?
Jerry, quickly. They want him for forgery, don't they?
Well, no, Maisie, they don't.
You see, now, Your Honor.
He's only wanted for grand larceny, embezzlement, swindling widows and orphans, and practicing medicine without a license.
Come on, Daphne, let's get out of here.
Stop him, Your Honor, stop him!
They won't get far, Maisie.
Maisie, I saw Dr. Clays and Daphne running down the corridor. Is anything... Gloria.
Oh, Jack.
Gloria, did you...
No, she didn't, young man. And you can thank Maisie here for saving her for you.
Oh, shucks, it was nothing, kids. And Gloria, as far as Jack and me and that kissing stuff, that was also nothing.
Oh, Maisie, you're a real pal. The best pal a guy ever had. And you and I and Gloria are going to have some real times together, just the three of us. Huh, Gloria? You will forget all this stuff that happened.
All right, darling. But on one condition.
I'll do anything, honey, anything.
I don't trust a real close pal as beautiful as Maisie here. You don't mind, do you, Maisie?
Oh, of course not, honey. Sometimes when I'm with a handsome man, I don't trust myself either.
So
what?
Well...
If you even so much as smile at me again, she'll come right back here to Reno. Right, Chloe?
Right, Maisie. Jack and I are going back home for a second honeymoon.
Oh, but, Maisie, what about you?
Oh, don't be silly, Jackie. What would I do on your honeymoon?
In just a moment, we shall return to the adventures of Maisie. Now, once again, here's Maisie.
And so Jackie and Gloria went back to Texas. Golly, those kids sure are proud of Texas. And I guess maybe they should be. After all, the United States is part of it. Too bad the court couldn't do anything about little Daphne. She hadn't broken the law, only bends a little. But that wolf in sheep's clothing will be getting what's coming to her, no matter where she's run off to. There's one thing about being a louse. No matter where you go, you gotta take yourself with you. Well, come on, sweet. We still gotta find that nightclub. Gosh, I sure am tired from all that walking. Golly, why can't people be born with their feet higher up so they won't have to keep pounding the pavement?
You've just heard The Adventures of Maisie, starring Ann Southern. Maisie is presented by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of Battleground, starring Van Johnson, John Hodiak, Ricardo Montalban, and George Murphy. Maisie was written by Arthur Phillips. Original music was composed and conducted by Harry Zimmerman. Supporting cast included Sidney Miller, Hugh Studebaker, Stanley Waxman, Mary Shipp, Bob Cole, Jerry Hausner, and Rhoda Williams. Jack McCoy speaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A small boy is reported missing from his home. His age, 9 years. Foul play is suspected. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, December 22nd. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way into work, and it was 3:55 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe.
Ben, what you doing?
Oh, pretty quiet. How's your mother?
Well, that cold's still hanging on. Bad cough. Doc says nothing serious.
My kid's got the same thing. Must be some kind of a virus going around.
Yeah.
Is that a new suit you got on?
Oh, yeah. Ma figured I needed one.
Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's a nice shade of blue. Where'd you get it?
Quincy's down South Fig. Look okay?
Oh, yeah, that's a good fit.
Did you get all the reports on the Webster case yet?
Yeah, all taken care of.
You got it. Homicide, Friday.
This is Levinson, Unit 113J. Got something for you.
Yeah, Harry, what's doing?
Doherty and I are out here on Collis Avenue, 4656. Trying to track down a 9-year-old boy.
What's the story?
The kid's missing, suspicion of foul play.
How long has he been gone?
About 2 hours. Looks like a job for homicide.
How do you figure?
Kid was last seen playing in the backyard of his home.
Yeah?
We checked over the yard.
Find anything?
Blood stains, lots of them. They look new.
Ben and I left a message for Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. Then we went over to the crime lab, picked up Lieutenant Lee Jones, and drove out the Arroyo Seco freeway to Collis Avenue. It was an average neighborhood. Number 4656 was a one-story green stucco residence situated on the corner of Collis Avenue and Harrison Drive. Beyond the backyard was a tract of undeveloped land covered with scrub oak. Harry Levinson from Highland Park Juvenile was waiting for us in front of the house.
Back this way, fellas. I'm coming, Lee.
Wait till I get my bag.
Okay. Who notified you that the boy was missing, Harry?
The mother said she went out to do some Christmas shopping about 11 this morning, left the boy home. She came back about 2 this afternoon. He was gone. What's the name? Johnstone. Kid's name is Stanley, 9 years old.
Mm-hmm. Was this gate open like this when you got here?
Oh, yeah, I haven't touched a thing. Here are the stains over here, Lieutenant Jones, along the edge of the walk, see?
Yeah. Let me see.
Quite a few stains, huh?
Looks like it might be blood. Try some benzodine on these spots here. There we are. See what happens.
Where's the kid's mother now, Harry? In the house. Doherty's talking to her.
Did you talk to any of the neighbors?
People next door. One's on this side. They couldn't tell us anything.
There it is, fellas.
Yelly?
These spots I covered with benzodine. They're turning blue. Bloodstains, all right. Can't say definitely whether it's human or animal blood.
Mm-hmm. You have to go back to the lab to run it through.
Yeah, biological precipitin test. Hand me one of those glass vials from my bag, will you?
Yeah. Okay, here you are.
Thanks. Scrape some of these flakes off for a test. There we are.
How soon can you tap the blood for us, Lee?
Precipitin test won't run more than 20 minutes. It'll take 3 or 4 hours to run a blood grouping, though. That's it. Anything else you want to check?
Levinson, anything else?
Oh, right here, my handkerchief. Empty shell. That marker over there by the rose bush, that's where I found it. From a .22, huh? Yeah. Might tie in, might not.
Mark it and dump it in this envelope, will you?
Oh, yeah. There. Shell. There you go.
Did you get out a missing broadcast on the boy, Harry?
Doherty did about a half hour ago. Here's a description here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mother know about the bloodstain? No, we didn't tell her. She's worried enough already.
And she has no idea what might have happened to her boy.
No more than we do. She checked all her friends, relatives. We're covering the neighborhood. No trace so far. Not much to go on. Bloodstains, empty cartridge.
Could mean 100 things.
Any ideas, Friday?
Yeah, just one, and I don't like it. 4:30 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. The neighborhood search for 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone continued. Lee Jones went back to the crime lab to start the precipitin test and the blood grouping. Levinson and his partner Doherty from Highland Juvenile stood by. We called Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, and he ordered up a special detail to aid in the search for the missing boy. Ben and I questioned the boy's mother, Mrs. Ruth Johnstone, a woman in her early 40s. She seemed fairly calm under the circumstances.
Miss Johnstone, is your boy staying in the habit of wandering off without telling you where he's going?
No, he's not in the habit of wandering off, but he has done it before.
When was the last time, Miss Johnstone?
You don't have any children, do you, Sergeant Friday?
No, I'm not married.
Well, there comes that time in every young boy's life when he feels that it's time to leave home, to go out on his own. It usually happens somewhere around 8 to 10.
I think I know what you mean. I got a boy.
Well, then you know how it is. My husband and I scolded Stanley one day after school. He was quite put out about it. He thought George and I were unfair. Packed a few of his things and left.
How long was he gone?
Oh, no time at all. About 2 hours. I was worried about him, but my husband said to leave him alone. Said every boy had to go through that stage.
Well, then you think he's run away from home again this time?
Yes, I think so. He's been gone about 4 hours now, and I have a funny feeling about it.
Did you and his father have some misunderstanding with the boy recently?
Well, that's just it. We haven't. I don't mind telling you now that we're talking about it. I am getting worried.
Any place around that he might like to visit? Hobby shop, playground, where he might be?
Yeah, there's Jensen's model shop and little Shanna Burrows, but I've already called him, and he hasn't been seen all day. I called all his friends. They have no idea where he is either.
We'd like a list of all his friends and the places that he was known to frequent.
Oh, yeah, all right. I'll get them to you. Where do you suppose he is?
Where's your husband now, Miss Johnstone?
Oh, he's at work. George works for the city. He's a fireman.
What house is he stationed at?
Engine Company 12. He's working the 8th platoon. He'll be home tomorrow morning. I haven't told him that Stanley's gone.
Was there any chance that the boy might be down at the firehouse with his father?
No. No, he seldom goes down there anymore. No, I don't think he's there. I'm awfully worried. May I call my husband?
Certainly. Go right ahead.
I know George will be worried. Stanley's been gone too long. Hello? May I speak with George Johnstone? This is Mrs. Johnstone. Thank you. I hate to call George at his work.
Yes, ma'am.
Does your husband own a gun?
Yes, he does.
What caliber, do you know?
Well, it's a .45 automatic. He got it. George? This is Ruth. George, is Stanley down there with you by any chance? Oh. No, I can't find him anywhere. He hasn't been here when I came home from my shopping. There are 2 policemen here. No, I said there are 2 policemen here. Oh, no, dear. I'll call you if we don't find him soon. All right, dear. Yes, you too. Goodbye. But I didn't think he'd be with George.
That .45, is that the only gun in the household?
Well, yes. Why are you asking about guns? Has anything happened that you're not telling me about?
No, ma'am. Just routine checking. We'll have to take a look at that .45, though, if you don't mind.
Maybe I should tell you. We do have another gun in the house, but it's all wrapped up. George bought it for Stanley's Christmas present.
May we see it, please?
Well, yes. Will you have to unwrap it?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
I think I can reach it. We had to hide it. So let me see. Oh, here's the paper it was wrapped in. Stanley must have found it. It's gone. See, here's the gift card and the box the gun came in, the rifle.
Can I look at that box, ma'am? Thank you.
How about it, Joe?
.22 caliber. Thursday, December 22nd, 5:15 p.m. It was getting dark. The search for the missing boy continued. We checked the list of Stanley Johnstone's friends. None of them or their parents had any idea of his whereabouts. We talked with Levinson again. He had been in touch with the detail combing the neighborhood. They had found nothing. We went down to Collis Avenue and 10th Street, service station on the corner.
1 nickel, Joe?
No, I got one. You watch for that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
City Hall.
2667, please.
2667. Crime Lab, Jones.
Hi, Lee. Joe Friday.
Yeah, Joe. Any sign of the Johnson kid?
No, not yet. How are you coming?
Finished the precipitin test. It's human blood.
Yeah?
Working with a blood group now. Do you know what type the Johnson boy has?
Well, we didn't want to upset his mother. I thought we'd wait till the last thing. We're still in the neighborhood.
Check with the family physician. That way you won't disturb.
Yeah, we figured on that. Oh, just a minute, Lee. Yeah, Ben.
Boss just pulled up.
Okay. Thad Brown's out here now. I'll check you later, Lee, huh?
Yeah, right, Joe.
All right, goodbye.
Gentlemen, how's it going?
Just checked with Lee Jones.
Yeah, I know. It's human blood. What do you think?
We talked with the boy's mother, Miss Johnstone. Found the gun missing.
Yeah.
Caliber's the same as the empty casing that Levinson found. 22.
You said the gun was missing.
Yeah, the Johnstones were going to give it to the boy as a Christmas present. They had it hidden, but it's gone now.
Any idea who took it?
Well, they left the Christmas wrapping behind. I think it was the kid.
22 rifle, huh? 9-year-old boy. When are they going to learn? First, it's carbide cannons on the 4th of July. The city issued ordinance after ordinance, but a few thousand kids around the country had to lose their eyes, fingers, hands before the parents gives us their full cooperation to outlaw them.
I know what you mean.
Sure you do. You and every other cop in the country became the heavies trying to clamp down on them.
It's always the same story. This time it's guns for Christmas.
I know what you're thinking, but we're not sure yet.
Listen, Friday, there's a city ordinance against giving a gun to a kid. You know that?
Yes, I know that.
There's a missing boy and a missing gun. There's blood on the ground and an empty shell. That's enough for me.
You're going to stay with it. Something's got to break.
Yeah. I hope it's not the hearts of that kid's parents.
Oh, hi, Chief. I've been looking for you, Friday.
What do you got, Harry?
On the gun. New .22 rifle. Strong smell of cord. I'd say it's been recently fired.
Where'd you find it, Levinson?
Back up there in that scrub oak. Up behind the Johnston house. Mrs. Johnstone identified it. Buckley took it down to the crime lab.
Thanks, Harry. Is Miss Johnston okay?
Pretty sick now. Kilby came up with something else.
What's that?
There's another one missing. An 8-year-old boy.
6:30 p.m. We talked with Officer Kilby about the other missing boy. He told us that his name was Stephen Moorheim, 8 years old. His family had just moved into the neighborhood, and it seemed that no one besides the Moorheim family knew that the boys played together. Mrs. Moorheim told us that Stephen told her that he was going out to play and that he'd be home by 6 o'clock for dinner. She told us that he was an unusually prompt boy and almost never overstayed his playtime. We got a description of the Moorheim boy and put out a missing broadcast. We called the Johnstones' family doctor. He told us that Stanley's blood was type O. At 7 p.m., we talked again with Mrs. John Moorheim.
Are you sure Mrs. Johnstone doesn't know where the boys are?
She has no idea, Miss Moorheim.
It's terrible. It's just awful. I feel there's more to this thing. Something you're not telling me.
There's no use to upset you until we know a few things for sure.
And you are holding back something.
Now, please try not to worry, Miss Moorheim. There are certain questions we'll have to ask, routine questions in any kind of investigation.
Is there anything else you want to know?
Yes, ma'am. What is your boy's blood type?
That's a funny question. Do you think anything's happened to him? Have you found him and you're not telling me?
No, ma'am, we haven't found him. We don't think anything's happened to him.
His blood type.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I have it written down in Stevie's baby book. Yes, here it is. Type O.
Thank you. Wonder if I might use your phone, please?
Yes, of course. It's in the hall.
Be right back, then.
Yeah, okay.
City Hall.
2667, please.
2667.
Ram that picture.
Hello, Ray. This is Friday. Lee there?
Just a minute, Joe. Take 2, Lee. John speaking.
Checking back, Lee.
Did you get the blood types on the 2 missing boys?
Yeah, both boys type O.
So the stains, Joe. Type O.
You are listening to Dragnet for the solution to an actual case from official police files. Now, here's a real solution to many of your Christmas shopping problems.
If your friends smoke a long cigarette, give the best of long cigarettes, Fatima.
Give Fatima for quality.
The name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality.
Give Fatima for flavor.
Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Give Fatima. They're extra mild.
Yes, Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. Yes, extra mild.
So give Fatima for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton.
It's the long cigarette that has doubled and redoubled its smokers. Yes, more and more smokers every day agree Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
8 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. Still no sign of either of the missing boys. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown went back to headquarters to direct the search from there. He dispatched another detail of 50 men to aid in the hunt for the missing youngsters. 8:30 p.m. It was getting colder. The citrus growers were warned to expect a freeze. We went up the block to see Mrs. Johnstone. Her husband had quit work early and returned home. We talked with him. He could tell us nothing more than we already knew. We still had not informed either of the families about the bloodstains and the empty cartridge casing which had been discovered in the backyard of the Johnstone home. It was more than possible that they had a right to know about our findings, but Ben and I felt that there was no cause to add to the distress of the two families at this time. If the two missing boys were found alive and well, then the bloodstains in the cartridge case would be of no concern to the relieved parents. At 8:40 p.m., Ben and I left the Johnstone house and went to the home of Mr. and Mrs. John Morheim.
Miss Morheim, you said your husband worked at a market?
Yes. He telephoned about 15 minutes ago and said he was closing up right away. He'll be here any minute. I do wish Stevie would call or come home. It's so cold out tonight. All he had on was a thin cotton jacket.
Please try not to worry. We're doing everything we can. He's going to be all right.
Stevie's father's such a sensitive man. He and the boy are so close. I know he's terribly upset.
No, you're sure there's no place you might have forgotten? Someplace where the boy might be?
No place. No. If anything happened to the boy, it'll just kill Joe.
No.
You sit still. I'll get it, Miss Morgan.
Joe?
Hi, Harry.
The Johnstone kid. He's been found.
Oh, he's home, Sergeant. He's come home. Thank God he's all right.
Where's he been? Did he tell you?
No, he didn't. His clothes were all dirty and he's acting strange. I've never seen him like this.
How do you mean, Miss Johnson?
Well, he just came in the front door and said, "Hello, Mom," and then he sat down in a chair and stared at the floor. He won't talk to his father or me.
Do you mind if I talk to him?
No, go ahead. I asked him about the little Morheim boy and he wouldn't tell me a thing.
Where is he now?
In the living room.
Looks all right.
Yes. Son, this is a police officer. He wants to talk to you. Now, don't be afraid, dear. He only wants to ask you some questions. Son. You see, Sergeant?
Stanley, come on, look at me, son. Get your head up, youngster. Come on, now that's better. I had your mother pretty worried, you know that? You want to tell us where you've been?
I wish you'd try to get him to eat a little something.
Do you hear that, son? Want something to eat? Stanley, there's another little boy up the street who hasn't come home. Do you know where he is? His father and mother are worried about him, too, just like your folks were. You've got to help us find him, son.
I killed him. I killed Steve with the .22. We were only playing. But I killed him.
How do you know you killed him? Maybe he's only hurt. Now, isn't that it?
No, he's dead. I know he's dead. The gun went off. We forgot we put bullets in there.
Where is he, Stanley?
I hid him. I was scared. I didn't want anybody to find him.
Where did you hide him, son?
In a cave up on the hill. I didn't mean it. It was my pal.
You want to show us where, son?
Yes, I'll show you. Please don't send me to jail.
9:15 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone led the way up the hill behind the backyard of his home. He showed us the wagon he moved the body in. His father came along with us. About 50 feet from the crest of the hill, the boy pointed to a thicket of scrub oak. There we found a small cave holding the body of Stephen Morheim. There was a single bullet wound in his chest just below his heart. He was dead. We covered the body.
Stanley, how did it happen?
I knew my folks were going to give me the gun for Christmas. I knew where it was, and I got it. There was a box of bullets with it.
Were you pointing the gun at Stephen?
No, sir. No, sir, I wasn't. It was Steve's turn to play with it. I was chasing him. He tripped over the stump there in our backyard and fell. The gun hit him in the stomach, and it went off.
Why do you think you killed him if you're telling us the truth?
I'm telling the truth, honest. That's the truth.
All right, I believe you, son, but why do you think you killed him?
It was my gun. Steve would still be alive if I didn't go and get it. I should have waited till Christmas. It's all my fault.
Where have you been all this time?
In the cave with Steve.
What were you doing in there, son?
I was praying. I was praying for God to make him alive again.
After a thorough investigation, Ben and I were convinced that the shooting of Stephen Morheim was accidental. Lieutenant Lee Jones' findings substantiated the Johnstone boy's story even to the smallest detail. We put in a call to the coroner's office and acquitted him with the facts. He designated a local mortuary to handle the body pending autopsy and granted us permission to remove the body to the Moorheim home. Mrs. Moorheim collapsed. The family doctor was called. Ben and I sat in the living room to wait for John Moorheim, the dead boy's father.
Edith! Edith!
Mr. Moorheim?
Yes. You the police?
Yes, sir.
Where's Edith? Where's my wife? Has my boy come home? Have you found him?
Yes, sir.
Oh, where is he? Steve! Stevie! Where's Steve? He's hurt, isn't he?
Yes, sir.
Oh, where is he? I want to see him.
He's hurt bad, Mr. Moorheim.
Oh, where is he? I want to see him.
He's in his room.
How bad?
Pretty bad.
He's dead. All right if I go in?
If you want to.
Will you go with me?
Sure. Don't make it any harder on yourself, Mr. Moorheim.
I want to see my boy.
Mr. Moorheim.
Stevie. Listen to me, son. We've got you a lot of nice things for Christmas. Everything you wanted. I got you the 3 new cars for the train. The one with the searchlight is really works. Son, you got that new switch you wanted to it. A lot more track. Oh, now you can have a big payout. You know that new baseball that you saw? Well, I got it for you. That cowboy outfit you wanted, I got you too.
Mr. Moorheim.
Come on, Joe.
What happened?
It was an accident. He was playing with the Johnstone boy up the street. Playing with a gun. It went off.
What was the other boy's name?
Stanley Johnston. It was an accident.
Mr. Moorheim, where are you going?
I want to see that boy.
We had no idea what the dead boy's father had in mind. We didn't feel that we should try to restrain him. We went along with him up the street to the Johnstone home.
I'm Stevie's father. Where's your boy?
I'm sorry.
Where's your boy?
He's right here. Won't you come in?
It's all right, Miss Johnstone.
You the boy that was with Stevie?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Stanley.
Stanley. I know it wasn't your fault, Stanley. I wonder if you'd do something for me.
Yes, sir.
I've got a lot of nice presents for Stevie. I know he'd want you to have them. I want to give them to you. Christmas Eve.
Mom?
I think that would be a fine idea, son.
Come on, Ben.
does it all prove, Joe? You don't give a kid a gun for Christmas.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 24th, 1948, a coroner's inquest was held in the county morgue, city and county of Los Angeles, state of California. In a moment, the results of that inquest.
Now, here are authentic reports from all over the country that tell the story of Fatima's sensational increase in popularity. New York Division.
Fatima sales up 132%.
Chicago Division.
Fatima sales up 453%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
More and more smokers agree Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes. So enjoy Fatima yourself and give extra mild Fatimas for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton. Everyone who smokes Fatima says that this great new long cigarette is the best of all long cigarettes.
At the coroner's inquest, it was officially recorded that Stephen Morheim's death was the result of an accident. Stanley Johnstone, age 9, was absolved of any legal responsibility for his friend's death. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors Hennepin County, Minneapolis, state of Minnesota, and the men of the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Sheriff Ed Ryan, veteran police officer and department administrator, who dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portion transcribed from Los Angeles.
Be sure to hear songs by Morton Downey tonight on NBC.
Oh, everybody.
Yes, it's the new Gay Family series starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning. Brought to you by the Jell-O family of desserts.
J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. That's Jell-O.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O pudding. Yum, yum, yum. Jell-O tapioca pudding. Yes, sirree.
And now Lucille Ball with Richard Denning as Liz and George Cooper. Two people who live together and like it. As we look in on the Coopers today, they're in the living room preparing to decorate their Christmas tree. George is snipping a twig here and one there to balance the tree, and Liz is just bringing in the ornaments.
Here are the Christmas tree ornaments. Oh, George, you never know when to stop. Look what you've done to that tree.
Oh, I just want it to be symmetrical, that's all. I only cut a few twigs off the top.
A few twigs. I'm up to my spine in pine.
Good heavens, is that the same tree we had a minute ago?
Yes, George wants to be different. We'll have the only Christmas tree in town with a butch haircut. Go on now, get a new tree.
Tell you what, I'll buy you a tree on Monday. They'll be much cheaper then.
Oh, how could I have married a man with no sentiment? I wonder if it's too late to have our marriage annulled.
Yeah, you better not try it. I might not take you back again.
You might not take me back again. Ha!
That does it. Now I wouldn't marry you again if you were the last woman in the world.
If I was the last woman in the world, I wouldn't have to get married.
Touché.
Oh, don't worry, George. I'll keep you, you unromantic, dull, old, wonderful you.
Thank you.
Too bad we didn't live in the old days. We could just jump in our sleigh and go caroling out into the woods after a Christmas tree.
Nobody ever did that. That's propaganda.
It is not. I'll show you. Where's that Christmas card the Roney sent us?
I'll take your word
Here
for
it
it.
is. See the picture?
A beautiful little country scene with people riding along in a sleigh and caroling. See? You know what that is they're dragging in back of the sleigh?
One of the carolers had too much eggnog?
No, that's a Yule log. That's what they did in those days. They were more full of spirit then.
Especially that guy they're dragging behind the sleigh.
Oh, now stop it. George, let's get a sleigh and a bunch of people and go out and sing Christmas carols.
Oh, be sensible, Liz. What are you going to do? Go down to Honest Chris Kringle's and buy a used sleigh?
Well, why not? Maybe we could get one that was only pulled by an elderly reindeer from Pasadena. Go on now. Run along and get me a new tree.
All right. Where's my coat?
George, here. I'll give you one last chance to prove you have a soul. Now, if I can get a sleigh someplace, will you go caroling with me?
I think I can safely say yes.
Okay, that's a challenge. I'll get one or my name isn't Gladys Cramhopper.
Gladys Cramhopper, that isn't your name.
I know, I'm not taking any chances. Hello. Sam's Livery Stable? I'd like to rent a sleigh. Sleigh. S-L-A-Y. E-Y? E-I-G-H. Are you kidding? Oh, you do? Well, how much is it? What do you mean, with or without reindeer? No, this is not Santa Claus. Goodbye. Oh, it's no use, Katie. Nobody in town rents sleighs.
Oh, too bad.
Have we got a cuckoo clock?
Oh, it's Mr. Wood from next door.
Oh, I'll let him in.
Close the door.
What's the matter?
Mrs. Cooper, could I hide out in your house for a few minutes?
Hide out? What's wrong, Mr. Wood?
It's Christmas vacation, and my 11 children are with me 24 hours a day. My house is like living in the... My, it's quiet in here.
Well, 11 children must be quite a problem on Christmas. Tell me, do they all hang up their stockings?
You wouldn't believe it. Stockings on the mantel, stockings on the chairs, stockings on the curtains. It looks like the washing machine exploded in the living room.
Oh, I'll bet you love every minute of it.
Well, I must admit it's nice on Christmas morning when we all gather in front of the tree. Mrs. Wood, myself, and the 11 children.
I'll bet you can't see the tree for the woods. You get it? See, your name is Wood, and then
Mrs. Cooper.
What?
That joke is one of my oldest friends. If one of our children hasn't made up that joke by the time he's 5, we throw him away. Well, I guess it's safe for me to go home now. The Battle of Santa Claus should be about over.
Battle?
Yes. Every year the believers beat up on the non-believers. Of course, there are more believers, counting Mrs. Wood and myself.
You believe in Santa Claus?
Certainly. I don't know who's been filling my children with those lies about his not being real.
Oh, well, you're just the man I want, Mr. Wood. Can you carol?
Oh, like a lark. Deck the halls with the boughs of holly. Fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Fa la 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 la.
Look,
God, we know our gay apparel. Fa la 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 la. Throw the edge of those apparel. I'm sorry, I got carried away.
Mr. Wood, let me tell you my problem. I want to get a group together and go caroling.
Oh, jolly.
But we haven't got a sleigh.
Oh, well, let's see now. Where can we get... I know there's one down at the antique store, and I know the owner, Joe Gundelfinger.
Joe Gundelfinger? That's an odd name.
You should have heard it before he changed it.
Changed it?
Yes, his name used to be Joe Gundelfoot.
Well, Well, do you think that Mr. Joe would rent it to us or lend it to us?
Well, I'm sure of it. He's a very good friend of mine. Come on, let's go down there. It's just a few blocks.
Oh, George will be so surprised. Let's go.
God rest you, merry gentlemen. Here it is, Mrs. Cooper. Gundlefinger's Antique Shop. Oh, and there's the sleigh.
Gosh, it's an old rickety one.
Well, he just keeps it in the front yard as sort of an ornament. But I think it'll work.
Yeah, it will if we take the pots of ivy out of it. So let's go in and see if he'll let us have it. Oh, the store's closed.
Oh, no, wait. There's a note on the door there. What does it say?
Closed Friday at court having my name changed again. Signed Joe Gundlefinger. P.S. Watch for grand opening of Smith's Antique Store.
Oh, that's too bad.
He had to pick today to change his name.
Well, let's just borrow the sleigh. He won't mind.
Well...
Oh, come on.
Well, how will we get it home? Maybe he has some antique reindeer.
I think we can drag it.
Oh, gee, it looks too heavy.
Oh, don't underestimate me, Miss Cooper. I'm a regular Samson.
What's the matter, Samson? Have your hair cut? Oh, here comes Mr. Negley. Maybe he can help you pull it.
Little Mr. Negley, Mrs. Cooper. If Samson can't pull it, what help will Delilah be?
Oh, Mr. Wood, you shouldn't talk like that. He can't help it if he's small.
Good morning, Mrs. Cooper.
Good morning, Delilah. I mean, Mr. Negley.
Good morning, Mr. Negley.
Good morning, Mr. Wood.
Mr. Negley, you're just in time. We're trying to get this sleigh home. Will you help us pull it?
Oh, I'd like to, but I just couldn't. I've been delivering mail since 7 o'clock this morning. I'm plumb pooped.
Well, I guess you mailmen have to expect a lot of work at Christmas time.
Christmas? So that's what it is.
Mr. Negley, you're pulling my leg.
Oh, Mrs. Cooper. You know, I'm glad that this is the end of my route. You know, I have so much mail I can't carry my bag. I put it on a sled and drag it around after me.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
It's fun, too. When the mail's gone, I belly whop all the way home. I'm pretty good at it, too.
Well, I used to be the block champion.
Oh, so did I. I can still beat all my 11 kids. I bet I can even beat both of you, belly whopping.
Well, you should. You got more to whop with than we have.
Mrs. Cooper.
Look, this isn't getting the sleigh home. We're going to have a sleighing party, Mr. Negley. Oh, can you sing?
Sing? Deck the halls with bows of holly. La 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 la.
Let's take him along anyway.
Okay. Come on, help us pull this thing.
Oh, say, I have a better idea. Let me run home and get my motorcycle. We can pull the sleigh with that.
Oh, good.
I'll sled home. That'll be faster.
Okay. There he goes. Walk along past me. Well, is everybody ready to go?
We can leave as soon as Mr. Cooper gets here.
Oh, where is George, anyhow?
Well, I'm all set. I've brought my blanket, my mittens, my earmuff, and a hot toddy bottle.
You mean a hot water bottle?
Just for that, you can't drink out of it.
I've got a thermos full of hot chocolate.
Will you be warm enough, Turtle Dove?
Oh, yes. I've got on my galoshes and an extra pair of longies.
Oh, here comes George. Hi, George.
Hey, what's going on?
I told you I could get a sleigh. Come on, we're going caroling and bring home a Yule log.
Oh, now, Liz.
You promised. Come on, get in the sleigh. Hang on tight, everybody. All set, Mr. Negley?
Contact.
Here we go. Up yonder, down Negley, up motor, down cycle. Hey, Mr. Negley, come back for us. You forgot to put the
Well, speaking of Yuletide, Yule logs, and other Yule things reminds me, you'll love this gay and gorgeous holiday fruit cocktail mold made with shimmering Jell-O. Here's what to do. Prepare rich red strawberry Jell-O as directed, using fruit cocktail syrup, water, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice for the liquid. When slightly thickened, fold in 1 cup of drained canned fruit cocktail and 1/4 cup of coarsely chopped nut meats. Chill until firm in a star mold. Then unmold and garnish with whipped cream and holly leaves. It's a beauty. All 6 delicious Jell-O flavors are rich with wonderful locked-in goodness, and all 6 sparkling colors are gay as Christmas candles. Strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, and lime. Look for those big red letters on the box. They spell Jell-O, a registered trademark of General Foods Corporation.
Jell-O.
And now back to the Coopers. The sleigh proved too much of a load for Mr. Negley's motorcycle, and we find our old-fashioned carolers heeding that old-fashioned advice, get a horse. They're trudging down the street, horseward bound.
It's only a couple of blocks further.
Katie, are you sure the milkman will lend us his horse?
He said he would on the phone.
Oh, it's cold. Let's keep moving, huh?
Yeah, my goosebumps are nudging each other to keep warm.
Gee, look in that window. Those people have a fire in the fireplace. Doesn't that look good?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet it's warm in there.
Hey, I got a wonderful idea. We're supposed to be carolers. Well, let's serenade this house, and maybe they'll ask us in.
Oh, good idea. What'll we sing?
Well, how about Jingle Bells?
Okay, give us the key.
Huh?
Give us the key.
Oh, I don't bother with keys. I just sing. Here we go. 1, 2, jingle bells,
jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Oh, look, someone's coming to the window.
Oh, carolers.
Yes?
Come a little closer to the window.
Oh, come on, he wants to thank us. Well, mister, how did you like it? Oh, we had to pick Scrooge's house.
Are you enjoying your old-fashioned Christmas, Liz?
Oh, shut up and help me chip this water off.
Would you like some hot chocolate? I brought the thermos along.
Oh, Katie, you're a lifesaver.
Oh, the cork is stuck.
Here, I'll hold the top.
I don't know what you got so mad about. It sounded pretty good to me. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Oh, what fun. Well, how do you like that?
Fun.
I had this thermos cup in my hand, and that man dropped a quarter in it.
This may be the start of a great new business. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun.
What have we here?
Oh, hi, officer.
Hey, let me see your license.
License? What for? Caroling?
No, panhandling.
Panhandling? Now, just a minute. We weren't panhandling. This cup is for hot chocolate.
Sure, and you always sweeten it with a lump of money.
Oh, that was just a coincidence.
Katie was trying to get the cork out, and I was just holding the cup out like this, and I...
Merry Christmas, lady.
Now, wait a minute.
Not panhandling, eh? I knew the minute I looked at you, you were a bunch of bums.
Oh, yeah? Well, this bum here happens to be George Cooper.
Now, let me handle this, Liz. Officer, I'm George Cooper, Vice President of the Sheridan Falls National Bank.
What?
Yeah, and these other bums are important people, too.
Liz, please. We were just caroling, officer.
Well, I don't know.
Listen to that beautiful speaking voice.
Huh?
Oh, I'll bet you sing a wonderful bass.
Oh, it's not so good.
Oh, come on, give us the honor of singing one song with you.
Well, I'm on duty, but, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle... Oh, go on and get out of here, and no more caroling.
Oh, well, Merry Christmas.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Officer.
Yes? What is it? What's the matter?
I'd like to report it a stolen vehicle, please.
Yeah. Well, wait till I get my book out and I'll take down all the details. Okay. What's your name?
Schmidt. No.
No?
No, my name is Gundelfinger. Yeah, it wouldn't be Schmidt for a couple of weeks yet.
Why? Are you getting married?
No. I'm just changing my name. It's still Gundelfinger.
Gundelfinger?
Yeah.
G-U... You wouldn't like to come back in a couple of weeks and report this, would you?
No. I want to catch the thieves right now.
Okay. What was the license number?
It didn't have a license number. It was just out in front of my shop with ivy in it.
Ivy who?
Just ivy. Little leaves and stems.
Yes. What was the make?
A flexible flyer.
Huh?
Yeah, was their big model.
Oh, sedan, huh?
No. One horse open.
What kind of an automobile was this?
It wasn't an automobile. It was a sleigh. And I gotta get it back. I need that sleigh for Christmas.
Yes, of course. When did you first notice it was missing, Mr. Claus?
No, please, Gundelfinger. You don't understand. It's an antique sleigh, and I got a customer who's going to buy it for a Christmas present. He's going to make a lamp out of it.
Yes, of course. I'll keep my eyes open. I'll look in back of every horse I see.
Oh, thank you. Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht.
Come on, horsey. Just 2 more blocks and we'll hit you up and have a real old-fashioned sleigh ride.
Oh, I think it was real nice of the milkman to lend us his horse.
Come on, let's sing again. 1, 2, 3.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Just a minute, let's dispense with all this singing.
Hi, officer.
Shh! It's you again, them bums. I see you got someone to sing in my place.
Oh, the horse. Well, I can explain.
No, let me guess. You just happened to hold out a cup, and someone dropped a horse into it.
Officer, I know it looks bad.
Now, you go home and stay there. I'm going to just charge this off to Christmas madness. First, some crackpot reports a stolen sleigh. Now I find you with a singing horse.
A stolen sleigh? Who was it stolen from?
You wouldn't believe the man's name if I told it to you. Now run along, and if I catch you out again, I'm going to run you in. Understand?
Oh, yes, and thank you. Merry Christmas, officer. Come on, everybody, let's go. Well, we're finally on our way.
Oh, no, we're taking this sleigh back to Gindelfinger.
Oh, George, let's take a little ride.
Nothing doing.
Just a little eensy-teensy one.
You heard what the cop said. This is stolen property.
Oh, but that cop's the only one who knows, and we'll be out of his district in a minute. We can take the sleigh back later.
No.
Well, let's take a boat. What do you 3 in the back seat say?
Oh, I'd like to go for a long ride. I like holding your hand under the blanket, Katie.
Why, Katie.
I like holding your hand, too, Katie.
Why, Katie.
I don't know what either of you are talking about. Both my hands are in my pockets.
Let go of my hand, Mr. Negley. Sorry.
Come on, horse. This is no time to stop. Get up. What's the matter with him?
Stop that sleigh!
Oh, look down at the corner. Here comes that cop. Let's get out of here, Liz.
Come on, horse. Get going.
Oh, no, he stopped again.
Get up, darn it. This is no time to play games. Get up!
Stop in the name of the law!
Oh, that's better. Hey, this horse is a stool pigeon. He's turning us over to that cop.
I'm afraid this is part of the milkman's route.
Oh, no!
Oh, fine. The horse is stopping at each house to deliver milk.
Let's get out and run for it.
No, give me those reins, Liz. I'll get him off the route.
Turn left at this corner. That'll do it.
Okay.
Stop or I'll shoot!
Come on, horse. We're turning here. Oh, he won't turn. Oh, come on, horse. We're going left. Left, do you hear?
Careful, George. He's breaking loose. Oh, great. Stranded in the middle of an intersection with a hot sleigh.
Hands up, all of you. I got you covered.
Hi, officer. Officer, we can explain. It all started because I wanted to go and get a Yule log.
Save your breath. You're coming to the station.
But it's Christmas time.
I know, and I'm going to give you a little present. It's a cell marked do not open till after Christmas.
Look, officer, we were really on our way back to Gundelfinger's to return the sleigh.
He's a very good friend of mine.
Well, I'll go with you and be sure you do return it. And I'll give you exactly 10 to get it out of this intersection. 1.
But we don't have a horse. How can we get it out?
2. That's your worry. 3.
All right, fellas, get down there.
What? 4.
Oh, if you get down there and pull, I'll steer.
5.
Oh, wait till I get you home, Liz. I'll take this shaft. Wood, you and Egley take the other.
6.
Come on, boys. Let's see all Yule spirit.
7.
Hey, you're moving it. Yule train. Hiya, hiya, Yule
Yes, Lucille, what's on the agenda for tonight?
Well, you don't have to get nasty about it. I just wanted to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to the North Pole.
The North Pole?
Yes, to visit Santa Claus. I'll be a little girl who's waited all year for Santa.
Hey, are you Santa Claus, huh? Are you? Huh?
Yeah, I'm Santa.
Oh, well, where's your red suit? And where's your reindeer?
They're all put away. I'm not going anyplace this Christmas.
Oh, you're not?
Nope. Well, why should I? I've been giving away things for as long as I can remember. Nobody ever gave me anything.
Well, if you'll go, I'll give you a live frog.
I don't want one.
Well, I'll give you some bubble gum.
No.
Hardly chewed.
No.
I'll give you a sled and a big doll, and I'll even give you some Jell-O.
No, I'm not going... Did you say Jell-O?
You see, that always gets him.
Real Jell-O?
Yep, and it's 6 delicious flavors. Strawberry and raspberry and strawberry and lime and orange and lemon.
With the flavor locked in by a special process so it can't get out till your first delectable spoonful.
Uh-huh.
So good it makes you think of the real ripe fruit itself.
Uh-huh.
I can't wait to look for the big red letters on the box. I'll make my regular trip this year. Ho, 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 ho.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
You have been listening to My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning, and based on characters created by Isabel Scott Rorick. Tonight's program was produced and directed by Jess Oppenheimer, who wrote the script with Madeline Pugh and Bob Carroll, Jr. Original music was composed by Marlon Skiles and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. The part of Katie the maid was played by Ruth Parrott. Watch for Lucille Ball in the Columbia picture Miss Grant Takes Richmond. And be sure to listen to Lucille Ball in My Favorite Husband again next week, presented by
J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. That's Jell-O.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O puddings.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O tapioca pudding. Yes, sirree. Oh, it's log cabin syrup for mine. With that real Northwest flavor so fine, oh so fine. Blended cane and pure maple, it tops on your table. That real maple flavor does pancakes a favor. It's log cabin syrup for mine.
Yes, Log Cabin is the syrup with that delicious Northwoods maple flavor. It's America's most popular quality table syrup. Enjoy it on waffles or pancakes for Sunday night suppers, as well as at breakfast.
It's log cabin syrup for mine.
Listen to Lucille Ball in My Favorite Husband again next week. Bob Lamont speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
WOTR Indianapolis is moving its broadcast exclusively to Live365.com.
Starting January 1st.
Now, as gunshots echo across the wind-swept, snow-covered reaches of the wild Northwest, Quaker Puffed Wheat and Quaker Puffed Rice, the breakfast cereal shot from guns, present the challenge of the Yukon. It's Yukon King, swiftest and strongest lead dog of the Northwest, blazing the trail for Sergeant Preston of the Northwest Mounted Police in his relentless pursuit of lawbreakers.
On King! On, Huskies!
Gold discovered in the Yukon. A stampede to the Klondike in the wild race for riches. Back to the days of the gold rush. With Quaker Puffed Wheat and Quaker Puffed Rice, bringing you the adventures of Sergeant Preston and his wonder dog, Yukon King, as they meet the challenge of the Yukon. Did you fellas and girls eat a hearty breakfast this morning? Did it include a heaping bowl full of delicious Quaker Puffed Wheat or Quaker Puffed Rice with milk or cream and fruit? Remember, wheat and rice shot from guns furnishes extra food values of restored natural grain amounts of vitamin B1, niacin, and iron. And they're swell tasting, nut-like in flavor, crisp and tender. For a hearty breakfast dish you like to eat, get Quaker Puffed Rice and Quaker Puffed Wheat. John Nicholas, with his red cheeks and flowing white beard, seemed the picture of benevolence as he sat at his desk. But there was nothing benevolent about his eyes. He was weighing out the wages of his chief clerk, and he seemed to begrudge every grain of gold he poured on the scales. At last he finished and poured the dust into a tiny leather poke.
Yeah. That takes care of him for another month. Johnny!
Yes, Mr. Nicholas.
Here's your wages.
Mr. Nicholas, this dust doesn't belong to me.
What's that?
No, sir. I owe you this and $50 more, sir.
What are you talking about?
Well, if you remember, sir, I had a letter from my wife 2 weeks ago. My little girl was ill, and she asked me to send her $200. There was medicine to buy, and it's expensive living in Dawson.
Yes, I know. I remember you bringing it up. But I'll have no women and children cluttering up this mining camp.
I asked you to lend me the $200, sir.
I remember that, too, and I refused to give it to you. Therefore, you don't owe me anything. This does belong to you.
Sir, I took $200.
What? Well, that's impossible. How could you?
It was very simple. I weigh the gold that's cleaned out of the sluices. One day I made a false entry, 15 ounces less than I weighed. I sent the 15 ounces to my wife.
You stole?
Yes, sir. Of course, I had every intention of paying it back.
You stole from the Nicholas Mining Company.
Yes, sir.
And you dare to stand there and admit it?
I had to do it, sir.
Yeah, thief, a common thief.
If I were that, would I tell you about it? Would I want to pay it back?
You'll go to jail for this.
Please, Mr. Nicholas.
Sergeant Preston is due here tomorrow on his way back to Dawson. I'm going to turn you over to him. You're right about one thing. I'll keep this dust. And don't try to run away. The Northwest Mounted always get their man.
I have no intention of running away, sir. I'll be waiting when the sergeant gets here.
It was late the following afternoon that Sergeant Preston arrived at the camp. John Nicholas was waiting for him outside the headquarters building and took him directly to his office. There he told him of Charlie Milford's theft and demanded that he be arrested. The sergeant said nothing for a moment, and then...
John, aren't you being a little hard on the boy?
He stole, Sergeant.
Well, what I can't understand is why you didn't lend him the money when he asked for it.
It's against my principles. He has his salary.
But this was an emergency.
He should have been prepared for it.
That's easy to say.
Yes, and easy to do. He's committed a crime. I insist that he pay the penalty for it. I insist that you arrest him.
All right. I'll arrest him. This is the 23rd. I'll start out for Dawson tomorrow and put up at the Captain's Roadhouse tomorrow night. Get into town the following day, which is Christmas. He'll have to stay over until the 26th. No court on Christmas, of course.
You said I'll have to stay over?
Yes, you'll have to appear against him.
Ah, nonsense.
It isn't nonsense. It's the law, unless you want the case to be thrown out of court.
All right, I'll go.
Sorry to hear it.
What?
Nothing. Early in the morning, John, we may run into a little bad weather. Come on, King. Time the team was fed.
The sky was clear when the sergeant, John Nicholas, and Charlie hit the trail the following morning. The wind rose, though, as the sun made its brief appearance on the southern horizon in the middle of the day. And shortly afterwards, great scudding clouds loomed overhead. In an hour, the sky was completely overcast, and snow began to fall.
It's going to be a blizzard.
I'm afraid so.
Where do you intend to put up for the night?
Captain's Roadhouse.
That's not until we reach the Klondike.
Another 10 miles.
We'd better stop before then.
We'd have to camp in the open, John. It doesn't sound like a good idea to me. A storm like this could last for days.
How long will it take us to get there?
Not long. Won't be completely dark.
But you can hardly see your way now.
King knows the trail.
On King! On,
The storm grew worse, and the sergeant put on snowshoes and helped King break a trail through the drifting snow. Only John Nicholas rode the sled. Charlie pushed to help the team. It was nearly 3 hours and completely dark when they saw a light ahead.
There it is, King.
Looks like someone out in front. A boy.
That's the captain's grandson. Hello, Ewan.
Oh, who is it?
Sergeant Preston.
Sergeant, I'm sure glad you've come.
Ewan!
There's your grandfather calling.
Ewan McCrimmon Robertson. Come in out of the storm this minute.
It's Sergeant Preston, sir. I've got to tell him what I heard.
You heard nothing but the wind howling.
I did hear something else, Sergeant.
Huh?
The wind died down for a second, and I heard wolf, and then I heard a woman scream.
Stuff and nonsense, Ewan. Get inside.
How are you, Sergeant?
Oh, I'm fine, Captain. Well, Ewan's a sensible boy. He wouldn't say he heard a scream if he didn't.
I heard it all right.
It could have been an animal, a caribou, the wolf.
A caribou wouldn't sound like a woman screaming. And look at the way King's acting.
That's where I heard it from. The direction he's looking, down the Klondike toward Dawson. Listen, Wolf.
Yes, my dogs say you're right.
Could they be attacking some traveler on the trail?
We'll investigate.
Want me to come with you, Sergeant?
No, Charlie, just unharness the team and see that they're fed, please.
I'll do that.
King and I'll go. Go on, King. Go on, lead the way. We're going after those wolves.
King started down the Klondike Trail, ordinarily hard-packed and easy to follow, but now completely obscured by the drifting snow. The darkness and the whirling flakes made it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead, but King never faltered. Suddenly, the wind changed its direction. Wolves could be heard clearly now, and with them pistol shots. Then a glow could be seen through the snow.
Fire, King. No wolves are going to get too close to that.
King growled menacingly and stopped in his tracks. A second later, the sergeant knew the reason why. There were ghostly gray shapes all around him. He dropped to his knees and opened fire at them. It was a strange, desperate battle, a fight against phantoms. Although once or twice one of the wolves swung close to try and rake King with his teeth, but the great dog drove them off. The sergeant reloaded and blasted away again. The wolf pack faded into the night. The sergeant and King ran on to the fire. They saw a team of huskies first.
Don't shoot.
Then an overturned sled, and beyond it the fire, and a man, a woman, and a little girl.
Sergeant Preston.
Mrs. Milford and Beth, what are you doing here?
I'm taking them up to Nicholas Creek so they can spend Christmas with Charlie.
Are the wolves gone, Sergeant?
Yes, Beth, they're all gone.
I wouldn't have been afraid at all if I'd known you and King were around.
The wolves attacked you as you were driving along the trail, Ronnie?
No, I didn't know how far we were from Captain's rookhouse, so I decided to make camp for a little. Get warm, have something to eat. I was just lighting the fire when they came. I turned over the sled to make a parry, and I shot from behind it. Miss Milford built up a fire. And then when it got real bright, they lit out.
Yes, they lit out after me and King.
Oh, dear.
No harm done. You don't have to go all the way to Nicholas Creek to see your husband, Mrs. Milford.
What?
He's at the Captain's.
Oh, really?
How far is that?
About a quarter of a mile.
Well, that's wonderful news, Sergeant, but I don't understand.
He and John Nicholas are traveling with me. We're on our way to Dawson.
Did you hear, Beth? You're going to see your daddy tonight. And we'll be together tomorrow, Mommy? All day?
You certainly will, Beth. I think we'll be snowed in by morning.
Oh, I don't care. As long as I'm with my daddy on Christmas.
Yes, Christmas.
Oh, dear.
What's the matter, Mrs. Milford?
Oh, something that was broken when the sled overturned. I'll tell you about it later.
Well, let's get moving, Barney. I'll give you a hand with the sled.
All right, Sergeant. It's over here.
The sled was righted, and the team straightened out. The sergeant and King broke the trail, and the little party pushed on to the roadhouse. The captain, Ewan, and Charlie Milford were out in front to meet them.
Who are they, Sergeant?
Charlie's wife and little girl and Barney Walsh.
What?
Charlie, don't say anything but that you're on your way to Dawson on business.
Mr. Nicholson.
I'll talk to him.
Oh, darling.
And darling, and Beth.
Hiya, Daddy.
Hi, honey.
The sergeant entered the roadhouse. He found John Nicholas sitting close to the fire in the large front room.
John, I want to ask a favor.
Favor for me?
Yes, and it won't cost you a cent. Now, Charlie Milford's wife and his little girl will be coming through that door in just a minute. I don't want you to say a word as to why you and Charlie are going to Dawson.
Why not? What are Charlie's wife and child doing here anyway?
They were on their way to Nicholas Creek to see Charlie. Now, I want your promise. Tomorrow's Christmas, and I don't want the day spoiled for them.
Christmas. Sentimental nonsense.
Call it what you want, but give me your promise.
Ah, very well. For one day, they'll find out soon enough that Charlie's a thief.
We'll continue our adventure in just a moment. Everybody's talking about presents these days. And here's a present you can give your appetite every morning. A heaping bowl full of Quaker Puffed wheat or Quaker Puffed rice covered with milk or cream and fruit. You know, these famous ready-to-serve breakfast cereals are... Oh, excuse me a minute. Hello?
Are you the man that sells Quaker Puffed wheat and Quaker Puffed rice on the radio?
I sure am.
Well, I'm one of Santa Claus's helpers up here at the North Pole.
You're what?
Well, you know who Santa Claus is, don't you?
Why, of course I do.
Well, I've been helping him make toys. Now I'm out of work, looking for jobs.
You mean you want to help me sell Quaker Puffed wheat and Quaker Puffed rice?
You catch on fast, buddy, and I'll sure do a swell job because I know all about those swell cereals.
Are you sure?
Oh, you betcha.
Do you know that Quaker Puffed wheat and Quaker Puffed rice are shot from guns?
I sure do. They're exploded up to 8 times normal size. Puffed to perfection so that they're crisp and tender. They just melt in your mouth. And they're full of bang-up nut-like flavor, too.
It sounds as if you eat Quaker Puffed wheat or Quaker Puffed rice every morning.
I wouldn't miss a morning.
But say, do you know that wheat and rice shot from guns are nourishing?
Sure. Everyone knows that they furnish added food values and restored natural grain amounts of vitamin B1
Well, then, if you're going to be one of our salesmen, here's something so important you ought to write it down.
Shoot, I'm ready.
Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice are never sold in bags or bulk. Well, that's a tip for you fellas and girls, too. Always look for the big red and blue package with the smiling picture of the Quaker man on the front. Then you'll be sure of getting the original, crisp, fresh Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice. Enjoy this delicious, nourishing treat tomorrow morning. Now to continue. A second after the sergeant had made John Nicholas promise to remain silent about the reason for Charlie and him being on the trail for Dawson, the others came trooping into the roadhouse.
Oh, my goodness, it's nice and warm in here.
Come over by the fire where you can really thaw out.
I had no idea your roadhouse was so large, Captain.
Well, the largest on the Klondike, 6 rooms. And you're going to have a bedroom all to yourself, Beth.
Am I?
Just off the kitchen.
Oh.
It's the warmest room in the house.
How do you do, Mr. Nicholas?
How do you do?
I can't get over how lucky we were meeting you and Charlie here. Beth, dear, this is Mr. Nicholas.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do? You take after your mother.
Yes, sir.
I hope. What happened to you out on the trail?
Wolves were after us, but the sergeant and King chased them away.
It's a wonder you weren't all killed.
We were all very lucky.
Now, you all sit down and make yourselves comfortable. I'll have supper on the table in 2 shakes.
Oh, I want to help, Captain.
Me too.
Supper that night was a gala affair for everyone but John Nicholas. He ate in silence and resisted every attempt the others made to draw him into conversation. After the meal, he retired to his corner by the fire and began to read a month-old copy of the Klondike Nugget, not even looking up when Beth and Ewan made a great ceremony of hanging up their stockings over the fireplace. Afterwards, Mrs. Milford put the little girl to bed.
After she's asleep, we'll put the tree up, Sergeant.
Oh, you're going to have a tree?
Oh, we always do. But this is the first year I've got to help trim it.
Fine, Ewan.
Ed and I better get the popcorn and stuff out now, Captain.
We can wait a few minutes.
Yeah, tree.
What's wrong with a Christmas tree, John?
And candles on it, I suppose. You set the place afire. How would you like that, Captain? How would you like to spend the night out in this howling blizzard? Huh?
You can sleep easy, John. We won't light the candles until tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Mr. Nicholas, may I bother you for a moment?
Bother me? What for?
Well, Beth wants to say good night to you.
To me?
Yes. You see, it's your name, Nicholas. I'm afraid she thinks there's some connection between you and St. Nicholas.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I know, but I've had to explain that perhaps Santa Claus won't be able to bring her any presents because of the storm.
Stuff and nonsense.
You see, the captain and Ewan will fill her stocking with nuts and candy, and I've got a new dress and a hair ribbon for her, but no toys. I had a doll, and it was smashed to pieces when the sled overturned.
Madam, I see no reason why I should become involved in your domestic difficulties.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think she only wants to explain to you that she understands, that she'll have to wait for a present. You see, she's so little, and she's so disappointed. She likes you very much.
Likes me?
I'm sorry. I'll tell her.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't jump at conclusions. I'll say good night, if that's all she wants.
John Nicholas walked out of the room and through the kitchen. He stopped for a moment before the door of the room where the little girl had been put to bed. Then he went in.
Young lady, I want you to know that I am not St. Nicholas.
No, sir.
Good night.
Please, sir.
You'll get your doll or whatever it is you want later. Good night, and go to sleep.
Please, sir. I don't want anything for myself. It's just that we'd like to be with Daddy all the time. Couldn't I have that for a present instead of a doll?
What? Did your mother put you up to this?
Oh, no, sir. She says that Daddy has to work at the mine and we have to stay in Dawson. But couldn't you manage it somehow?
Your father may be in Dawson all the time before long.
He will? Oh, thank you, Mr. Nicholas.
No, don't thank me. Thank him.
Can I kiss you goodnight?
No.
Please.
Oh, very well.
Good night, Mr. Nicholas.
Good night. Christmas, sentimental rubbish. Mrs. Milford, I think your daughter is ready to go to sleep now.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Nicholas.
Ewan,
Yes, sir?
don't you have any old toys you could give a little girl?
No, sir. There's some candy and nuts and raisins for a stocking.
Nothing in the way of gimcracks that will amuse her?
I've got some old skis and some skates, but they're too big for her.
I can't believe my ears. Sergeant, is that John Nicholas worrying about a kid's Christmas?
I'm only worried about my peace of mind. A fine thing to be shut up with a squalling infant for a whole day.
Beth won't cry, Mr. Nicholas.
Well, it seems to me that you and your wife could manage things a little better.
Wait a minute. I have an idea.
It's about time someone did.
Captain, Pierre Renault.
Say, wouldn't that be great?
It's impossible. Don't argue with the sergeant, Captain. He has an idea. Let him work it out his own way. Well, what is it, Sergeant? Who's this Pierre Renault?
Well, he's a trapper, and he lives 5 miles away, up on the ridge. You could never get there in this storm, Sergeant.
All I have to do, Captain, is keep on climbing until I reach the top of the ridge, and then follow it to the west until I reach Pierre's cabin.
Yes, but following the ridge when you can't see 3 feet in front of you. If you take one false step in some places, you'll drop 200 feet.
King won't let me do that, will you, boy?
It's a wonderful idea.
It's suicide.
What are you talking about?
You'll find out when I get back. Come on, King.
5 minutes later, the sergeant and King set out for Pierre Renault's cabin.
Let's go, boy.
Before they had taken 5 steps, the storm blotted them out. The others went to work setting up the Christmas tree and decorating it. It was long after midnight when they finished, and there was no sign of the sergeant.
Well, I guess we'd all better go to bed. You may wait until morning to make the return trip. But I'll leave a lamp in this window and one out in the kitchen, just in case.
Right.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Good night.
See you in the morning.
Just before dawn, a wolverine saw the light in the kitchen window. With the cunning of his kind, the vicious little animal knew that where there was such a light, there were men, and where there were men, there was food. He fought his way through the drifts to the house, and then burrowed deep into the snow. The chinks between the logs had been filled with moss. He tore this away with his savage teeth and began to gnaw at the wood. There was food inside the building, and he worked furiously. At last, the hole was large enough for him to squeeze through. Now the smell of food was close. It was all around him in the warm room. Suddenly, a door opened at the far side of the room. Beth stood in the doorway, sleepily rubbing her eyes. In the glow from the partially opened door of the stove, she saw the wolverine.
Oh, Kitty. Well, Santa Claus did come after us.
Wolverine's eyes were red with hatred. He started toward the little girl. The sergeant and King were able to see the lights from the roadhouse when King broke into a run. The sergeant found it hard to keep up with him.
Easy, boy, easy. No need to run now. What's the matter with you?
The great dog threw himself against the door of the roadhouse.
All right, King, I'll open the door just as soon as I get out of these snowshoes. There.
As soon as the door was open, King ran in and straight on to the kitchen door.
You'll wake everybody up, King. Yes. I'll let you out there as soon as I put our young friend down in front of the tree.
Just as the sergeant reached the kitchen door, Beth screamed. The sergeant threw open the door, and King leaped across the kitchen. The little girl was huddled in the corner, her hands over her face. The wolverine turned to meet King, but the dog evaded the vicious cut of his teeth, caught him by the back of the neck, and threw him far across the room. The sergeant picked up Beth and carried her out of the kitchen.
Sergeant, what is it?
Take her, Mrs. Milford. She's all right.
What happened?
A wolverine. King's taking care of him.
Oh, baby, don't cry.
As the sergeant re-entered the kitchen, the wolverine charged King. At the last second, the dog leaped aside. The murderous jaws slashed the air. Once more, King risked his throat to grab the wolverine by the back of the neck. Once more, he tossed him in the air, and this time he hit the stove as he landed. King closed in, and a moment later, the savage little beast lay still.
Good work, boy. You saved the little girl's life.
There, darling.
When the sergeant and King returned to the living room, Beth was still crying quietly in her mother's arms, while all the men stood around her.
Wolverine, Sergeant. King get him?
Yes, all over.
Those little devils can get in anywhere.
I thought it was a kitty that Santa Claus had brought me.
Well, dear, you come over here by the tree and let me show you what Santa Claus did bring you. Come on, take my hand.
Honest? He brought me something? Is it a dolly?
We'll see if you don't think it's better than a dolly.
Where?
Underneath the tree there. I'll just turn that blanket back.
Mommy! It's a puppy. Yes, is he really mine?
He's really yours.
Mommy, look at him. All soft and white. Just like a ball of cotton. Oh, puppy, I love you. I love you. And he loves me too, Mommy. Look, he's licking my hand. See how pink his little tongue is?
Oh, he's beautiful, darling. He's a genuine Siberian.
Mommy, he's singing.
Perhaps he's singing a Christmas carol, dear. Why don't you sing with him?
I will. Come on, Ewan.
The first Noel, the angels did sleigh, was to serve them for shepherds in fields where they lay.
Sergeant, come over here a minute, will you?
Yes, John?
I'd give anything if I'd been the one who brought that child the puppy.
You would?
Well, within reason.
John, you can make her a much better present than a puppy.
Yes. Yes, I suppose I can. And I'll do it. Excuse me. Charlie, I want to work with you.
Yes, sir.
After this storm is over, I want you and your wife and Beth to come back to Nicholas Creek with me.
Sir, you mean that you're giving me another chance?
Well, you still owe me a little money. There's no reason why you shouldn't work it out.
I'll be glad to, sir. And Anne and Beth?
Yes. Good idea to have them around. You can concentrate better and make yourself more valuable to me.
Sir, all I can say is thank you, but I promise, sir, I am grateful.
Yes. Well, what do you say we join in the singing?
Fine.
Look at Charlie's face, King. I can imagine what John told him. It's a Merry Christmas for everybody. But my guess is right, boy. This case is closed.
In just a moment, Sergeant Preston will give you a preview of Monday's adventure. Well, sir, fellas and girls, next Sunday is the day you've been looking forward to for so long. Yes, and right here is someone who wants to say something to each and every one of you. Here is Sergeant Preston himself. And naturally, I don't have to tell you that King is here, too, right beside him.
Fellas and girls, King and I just want to say this. We hope that you and your family and friends have the most wonderful Christmas ever. How about it, King? That's King's way of saying for the both of us, Merry Christmas.
And Sergeant Preston, that goes for me and for all of us here, and for the Quaker Oats Company, makers of Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice. Yes, from all of us, a Merry Christmas to one and all. Listen Monday when Sergeant Preston and Yukon King meet the challenge of the Yukon in the case of Journey for Revenge.
When an old sourdough came to me with the story of Ned Tyler's reason for coming to the Yukon, I knew that something would have to be done to turn him from his decision. The plan I had to get the truth and prevent a murder was one that put me on the spot with a killer.
Be sure to hear this exciting adventure Monday. These radio dramas, a feature of the Challenge of the Yukon Incorporated, are created and produced by George W. Trendle, directed by Fred Flowerday, and edited by Fran Stryker. The part of Sergeant Preston is played by Paul Sutton. They are brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time by Quaker Puffed Wheat and Quaker Puffed Rice, the breakfast cereal shot from guns. For a delicious hot breakfast, eat Quaker Oats. The giant of the cereals is Quaker Oats. Delicious, nutritious, makes you feel ambitious. The giant of the cereals is Quaker Oats. Say, boys and girls, you want to be a star someday in sports and activities? Then start on good Quaker Oats breakfast tomorrow. Because nourishing oatmeal gives you more growth and endurance than any other whole grain cereal. Remember, Quaker and Mother's Oats are the same. This is J. Michael wishing you goodbye, good luck, and good health from Quaker Puffed Wheat and Quaker Puffed Rice. So long. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
From Hollywood, the Screen Directors Playhouse.
Screen Directors Playhouse, star Edmund Gwenn, production Miracle on 34th Street, director George Seaton.
The Hollywood Screen Directors present a Christmas party. For the 500 special girls and boys gathered here in NBC's Hollywood studios, and for children of all ages everywhere, we present the motion picture Christmas story, Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund Gwenn in his original Academy Award-winning role of Kris Kringle.
You don't believe in Santa Claus? Well, why not? Santa Claus believes in you.
The jaunty, portly little man with the white whiskers swung his cane as he walked in the brisk November morning. He walked into a department store famous across the nation, Macy's 34th Street, New York, crowded amiably into the elevator, and got out at the employment office. It seems a Mrs. Doris Walker was the lady to see up there. Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes?
You'll be needing a Santa Claus for your toy department this Christmas. I wish to apply for the position.
Well, we do need a Santa Claus if you're qualified.
Oh, I'm eminently qualified.
Do you like children?
Who doesn't?
Do you have any children?
Millions of them.
I must certainly say you look like Santa Claus.
Well, I certainly should look like Santa Claus.
You won't even need padding.
Oh, no, I carry my own.
Now, you understand that Macy's has a line of toys that you may recommend with complete confidence.
I assume that I'm hired?
Yes, can you start tomorrow morning, Mr.
Kringle.
What?
Kringle. I'm Kris Kringle.
The new Santa Claus was positively the most sensational Santa Claus who had ever held court on Macy's 7th floor. He was the real article, all right. He had that deep-down, genuine, Kris Kringle crinkle in his eyes. And if he told you anything, you could depend on it.
Electric trains? Why, yes, Peter. Yes, madam, right over that way. Realistic models of the chief and super chief. Now, what about you, little girl? Huh? Oh, yes, madam. We have wonderful skates here, but not quite what your little boy seems to want. Now, I suggest you go across the street to Gimbel's.
Gimbel's?
Oh, yes. I keep track of the toy market pretty closely. What, does that surprise you, Sue?
Macy sending me to another store?
Well, the only important thing is to make the children happy, isn't it? Huh? And whether Macy's or somebody else sells the toy doesn't make any difference.
Well, it's wonderful. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Well, you can get it at the Acme Toy Company. Only $8.50, plus tax.
And so it went.
And so the customers went to other stores if Macy's didn't have it. The grown-ups began to believe in Santa Claus as much as the children. All except one small child named Susan Walker, who finally came to Kris Kringle, a skeptical look on her small face and a prodding young man at her back.
Well, young lady, and what would you like for Christmas? Go ahead, Susan. Tell Santa what you'd like. What's your name, little girl?
Susan Walker, and I don't believe in Santa Claus.
Oh.
My mother happens to be Mrs. Walker, the lady who hired you.
Well, your daddy here believes I'm Santa Claus, I'll bet.
He's not my daddy. My father and mother are divorced. This is Mr. Gailey, who lives in the apartment next to ours.
I see.
He's a lawyer at law.
Attorney at law, Susan.
He pretends he brought me to see you, but he really came to visit Mother.
Oh. Really? Oh, brother.
I must say you're the best-looking Santa Claus Mother ever hired.
Oh, thank you.
Your whiskers aren't loose at the side.
Well, that's because they're real. Just like I'm really Santa Claus.
Oh, now stop.
Now, go ahead. Come on, pull them.
Pull them?
Go ahead.
All right.
Oh, ouch.
Well, they're on pretty tight, all right.
Now what would you like me to bring you for Christmas?
Susan. There's Mother now.
I'm dead.
Susan, Mr. Gailey, I told you not to bring Susan down here.
But your maid is out sick, and Susan was alone
Mr.
at
Gailey,
home.
I am bringing Susan up to face reality.
Well, in reality, he came to see you, Mrs. Walker.
Oh, really? Mr. Gailey, will you step this way, please?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your name?
Kris Kringle.
That's your trade name. I mean your real name.
Santa Claus.
We can talk here, Fred.
Now, Doris...
I keep telling Susan that Santa Claus is a myth, and you bring her down here to see thousands of children like herself worshipping a very convincing old man with real whiskers. What's she to think? What's she to believe?
Whatever makes her happy.
Well, I don't want my child growing up to consider life a fairy tale instead of reality. They keep waiting for a Prince Charming to come along, and when he does, he turns out to be someone
Someone they'll have to divorce?
We were talking about Susan.
Oh.
In fact, I'm going to have to talk to that Santa Claus about Susan before he goes to lunch.
Yes, Mrs. Walker?
The reason I called you into my office was to have you tell Susan here that you're not Santa Claus.
Yeah, but I am Santa Claus.
See, Mother? A girl doesn't know what to think these days.
I want you to tell her the truth. Now, what's your name?
Kris Kringle.
See?
I mean your real name.
Well, that is my real name.
Now, see here, Excuse me a moment.
Yes, Mrs. Walker.
Miss Thomas, will you get out an employment card filled out by a Mr. Kris Kringle, if there is one? I'll wait.
I'll bet you're in the first grade, Susan.
Second.
Second?
I'm very advanced.
Oh.
Here it is, Mrs. Walker. Mr. Kris Kringle.
No.
Yeah, Kris Kringle. Residence, Brooks Memorial Home for the Aged. Age as old as my tongue and a little older than my teeth.
Oh, no.
Do you know what I think?
Yes, the same thing I think.
I think he's nuts.
That's what I think.
He really believes he's Santa Claus.
With bells on.
Well, you better get rid of him. He might be dangerous.
Thank you, Miss Thomas. I agree. Mr. Kringle, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to make a change.
Have I done something wrong?
Well, no. That is, not wrong. But, excuse me. Yes?
Mr. Macy's on the phone.
Oh, put him on.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes, Mr. Macy?
I've just heard about your new Santa Claus.
Oh, yes, Mr. Macy. I was just going into that, Mr. Macy.
The very idea of his telling people that if Macy's doesn't have it, to go to Gimbel's.
Well, I have him right... Gimbel's?
Directly across the street.
Imagine, Macy's Santa Claus sending customers to Gimbel's. Wonderful.
Huh?
The public response is wonderful. We're getting to be known as the helpful store, the friendly store, the store that places public service ahead of profits. And consequently, we'll make more profit than ever.
Yes, sir.
Great idea, Mrs. Walker. Great work. Keep it up.
Yes, Mr. Macy.
And above all, keep that Santa Claus.
Keep him? But he's... Well, he's...
He's great.
But, Mr. Macy, I don't...
Goodbye, Mrs. Walker.
Mr. Macy. Mr. Mr. Kringle.
Yes?
Mr. Macy suggests that we try you out a little longer.
Well, that's mighty good news, Mrs. Walker. You see, this is quite an opportunity for me. Yes, for the last 50 years or so, I've been getting more and more worried about Christmas. Seems we're all so busy trying to beat the other fellow in making things go faster and look shinier and cost less. But Christmas and I are sort of getting lost in the shuffle.
Christmas is still Christmas.
Oh, but it isn't just a day. It's a frame of mind. And that's what's been changing. That's why I'm glad I'm here. Maybe I can do something about it. Oh, I'm glad I met you and your daughter.
Thank you.
You two are a kind of test case for me.
What's a test case?
Well, if I can make you and your mother believe in me...
Speaking of tests, Mr. Kringle, would you kindly report to Mr. Sawyer's office the first thing tomorrow morning?
Mr. Sawyer?
Yes, he'll give you an examination.
A mental examination?
Oh, it's just routine. All of our employees are required to take an examination.
Oh, I don't mind. I've taken dozens of examinations. Never failed one yet. I'll see Mr. Sawyer first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Mrs. Walker. Bye, Susan.
Goodbye, Mr. Kringle.
Oh, excuse me, Chris.
I was just leaving. Bye. Bye-bye.
Hello, Doris. How are you, Susan?
I'm fine. Mother's got problems.
Fred, I'm worried about Mr. Kringle.
Worried? Why?
Well, I think he's mentally unsound.
I think he's a fantastic, delightful, and unselfish human being. And if being delightful, unselfish, and human is bad, what's good?
Well, Mr. Macy likes him, so I have to keep him. But not if he's insane.
Oh, nonsense.
Well, he thinks he's Santa Claus.
Well, maybe he is.
Well, suppose he gets worse. Suppose he gets violent.
Chris!
Nevertheless, I'm having Mr. Sawyer question him tomorrow. Only, how can I be sure that Kringle will even show up tomorrow?
It's easy. I'll take him home with me tonight and bring him to work in the morning.
Oh, would you?
All you have to do is to marry me.
Fred.
When I can afford it.
Do it, Mother.
Susan.
Well, then at least have me in to dinner tonight. With Mr. Chris Kringle, my house guest of honor.
Well, that evening, Chris Kringle went home with Fred Gailey. And after dinner in Doris Walker's apartment next door, Chris left Fred and Doris to discuss child psychology, or something, and stole quietly into Susan's bedroom. Susan, sophisticated child, was in bed, blowing bubblegum bubbles.
Oh, that was a big one.
Susan, why don't you give me a chance to prove to you that I'm really Santa Claus?
There is no Santa Claus.
Oh, now there must be something you want for Christmas.
Mother will get me anything I want.
Oh, but there must be something she can't get you.
Well...
There is something.
I'd like a house.
What, you mean a doll's house?
No, a real house. To live in.
A real house?
If you're really Santa Claus, you can get it for me. If you can't, you're only a nice man with a white beard, like Mother says.
Oh, but you've got this lovely apartment to live in.
I want a backyard to play in, and grass, and a white picket fence and rose bushes. But Mother can't afford it, and I guess you can't get it, huh?
Oh, no, I didn't say that, you know. Well, I've got to see Mr. Sawyer first thing in the morning. I'll get right to work on it after that, Susan, tomorrow.
Now, tell me, Kringle, how many days in the week?
7.
Who was the first president of the United States?
George Washington.
How much is 3 times 5?
Well, you asked me that before.
I'm conducting this examination. How much is 3 times 5?
Well, same as it was before, 15. You're rather nervous, Mr. Sawyer, aren't you? Do you get enough sleep?
Never mind. How many fingers am I holding up?
3? Oh, you bite your nails, too.
Kringle.
You know, sometimes nervous habits like yours are a result of insecurity.
I didn't ask you.
Oh, I just want to be helpful.
I didn't ask for help, you fuzzy old crackpot.
Mr. Sawyer, that's hardly the proper way to conduct a mental examination.
Oh, I'm wasting my time on a hopeless case. Get out.
Mr. Sawyer.
I said get out.
Mr. Sawyer, I have great respect for psychiatry and great contempt for imposters and quacks.
See, I beg your pardon.
I should like to see your degree in medicine.
Get out.
Also proof of your specialization in psychiatry.
Get out. Get out.
Now, either you stop analyzing people, or I'm going to tell Mr. Macy what a contemptible, vicious, malicious fraud you really are.
I'll have you committed to an insane asylum.
Well, you're the one who needs treatment.
You lunatic, are you saying I'm crazy?
Now, put down that inkwell.
Put down that cane.
Put down that inkwell.
You go first.
I'd better. You're dangerous.
When he recovered, Mr. Sawyer jingled Bellevue. And that is how Santa Claus, alias Kris Kringle, found himself that very morning in the violent ward at Bellevue Hospital.
are listening to the Screen Directors Playhouse presentation of Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund Gwenn in his original Academy Award-winning role of Kris Kringle. Late that afternoon, Fred Gailey, attorney at law, came to visit Kris Kringle in the violin ward at Bellevue Hospital.
All right, now, Kris, why did you do it?
Why did I conk Mr. Sawyer?
Why did you fail your examination by the doctors here at Bellevue? You did it deliberately.
I did. I said the first president of the United States was Calvin Coolidge.
But why?
Oh, Fred, the last few days, I had a feeling people were warming up towards each other. Macy's sending customers to Gimbel's. Gimbel's sending customers to Macy's. Gimbel and Macy shaking hands. Wyszynski saying yes. People were beginning to make some sense, even if Doris did doubt me.
Doris hasn't believed in anything for years. Ever since her marriage went
Oh, it wasn't just Doris. It was Sawyer. Now, he's contemptible, dishonest, selfish, vicious. Yet he's out there and I'm in here. He's called normal. I'm not. And we've got a world full of Mr. Sawyers. And if that's normal, I don't want it, Fred. That's why I answered those questions incorrectly.
But, Kris, what happens to a lot of people, like me, who do believe in you and what you stand for? What happens to people like little Susan, just beginning to believe?
Susan?
Are you going to let her down? People like that?
Well, I hadn't thought of that, Fred.
Are you going to quit right in the middle of your job?
Gee, you're right, Fred. I'm ashamed of myself. Let's get out of here.
Not so fast, Kris. Getting in here was easy. Getting you out will be a lot harder.
Oh, not for you. You're a fine lawyer.
Perhaps, but...
But what?
You've been ordered committed to a mental institution.
Oh, I see.
However, I've requested a formal hearing, and it's been granted.
What the issue being, do I jingle the bells or do the bets run the belfry?
Doctors out sanity of Santa who launched goodwill campaign. Kringle crazy, court case coming. Calamity, cry kiddies.
Your Honor, the commitment papers being before you, I should like to call the first witness. Mr. Kris Kringle, will you please take the stand?
Delighted to do so, Mr. Prosecutor.
Mr. Kringle?
Your Honor?
This is merely a hearing. You do not have to answer the questions or even testify at all.
We've no objections, Your Honor.
Well, I'll be glad to answer any questions I can.
You may question the witness, Mr. Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tell us, sir, what is your true name?
Kris Kringle.
And where do you live?
Well, that's what this hearing will decide.
Mr. Kringle, do you believe that you are Santa Claus?
Of course.
Perhaps the witness doesn't understand the question.
I understood the question perfectly, Your Honor.
In which case, Your Honor, the state rests.
In view of the defendant's statement, does counsel for the defendant wish to put in a defense?
Your Honor, the entire case against my client boils down to this. The prosecution contends that Mr. Kringle is not sane because he believes himself to be Santa Claus.
That is true.
But if Mr. Kringle were the person he believes himself to be, he would be as sane as we are.
Correct.
I intend to prove that Mr. Kringle is not insane because he is Santa Claus.
Fred, let's be sensible. You can't possibly prove that poor old man is Santa Claus.
Why can't I?
And he's not a poor old man.
Logic, Fred, not faith and hope wins out in court. That's just common sense.
And I guess in these last few years, you've developed too much common sense.
Well, one of us has to have it, Fred.
And both of us have to have faith, Doris. Or we're wrong for each other.
I see.
Even when I can afford it, we're wrong for each other.
Well, I'm going to pray for Santa Claus.
Mr. Kringle, dear.
Santa Claus.
I mailed your letter to Santa, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Special delivery. He'll get it tomorrow. Maisie, I will turn the questioning over to a person you know. A person in whom I have the deepest confidence and belief. My client and your employee, Mr. Kris Kringle.
But I don't know what to say.
Say it anyhow, Chris. Come on.
Well, they say that the man who pleads his own case is a fool for a client. But I won't let down anybody who believes in me.
You're a witness, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I don't know what to ask you, Mr. Maisie.
Just ask me anything.
Well, how are things at the store?
Pretty good, Chris.
Sorry I can't be with you.
So are we.
Your substitute Santa doing all right?
Oh, he's just another Santa Claus.
Oh, no, Mr. Maisie, you mustn't say that. He isn't just another Santa Claus, any more than this Christmas is just another Christmas. It's the same Christmas, timeless and unchanging, with the same deeper meaning it always has. The same summons to all men to have faith, not in any one faith, but to have faith in themselves, in mankind, in each other. Because if all the earth be laid in ruins and all our yesterdays and all man's wonders become smoke and ashes, and man remains, well, then everything remains. For all we have on earth that matters is each other. And that's what Christmas is. A time for unselfishness, a time for each other, for goodwill and understanding, and deep respect for all our fellow men.
Your Honor, Oh, very well.
Christmas isn't just once a year. Christmas is always. Flowering, let's say, in late December. And your new Santa Claus isn't just another Santa Claus, Mr. Maisie. To the purest minds and the most immaculate souls among us, I mean the little children, he is Santa Claus. Because they believe he is. And that's good enough for me, Mr. Maisie. That's good enough for me.
It's good enough for me, too, Chris.
Mr. Maisie, do you believe I'm Santa Claus?
I certainly do.
Thank you, Mr. Maisie.
Your witness, Mr. Prosecutor.
Your Honor, this is all very charming, but I must ask the court to demand that Mr. Gailey present competent authority. Competent authority, I say, for the contention that his client is Santa Claus.
Have you such authority, Mr. Gailey?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Will that be all, Fred?
Yes, Chris. For now.
Before you go, Mr. Kringle, the bailiff handed me this letter in care of this courthouse. It would appear to be for you. It's addressed to Santa Claus.
Oh?
The bailiff also informs me that the dead letter office of the post office department has forwarded some other mail addressed simply Santa Claus.
Well, that's very kind of them.
Your Honor! Where are those other letters? I requested they be entered in evidence.
I'm afraid that would be awkward, Mr. Gailey.
What do you mean awkward, Your Honor?
There are 9 truckloads of those letters.
Your Honor, counsel for the state has asked for authoritative testimony that my client is Santa Claus. The U.S. postal laws make it a criminal offense to misdirect mail or intentionally to deliver it to the wrong party. The Postal Department itself, therefore, recognizes this man, Kris Kringle, as Santa Claus.
Order!
Objection!
Order!
Objection!
Order, I say order. In view of such overwhelming testimony, case dismissed.
It was clear and cold when Fred and Kris Kringle got out on the courthouse steps. It looked and felt like a white Christmas. Like a good Christmas. Same as always.
What was in that letter anyhow, Chris?
Letter? Oh, clean forgot to open it. I better, though. It's from Susan.
I suspected it was.
Dear Chris.
Dear Chris, I don't care what anybody says, even the judge.
Signed?
P.S. P.S. I believe in you, too. And in your legal counsel.
Signed?
Doris.
You know, Chris, it was Susan's belief and faith that made her write you that letter. It was her letter that gave the post office the idea of forwarding all those dead letters to you.
Of course. A little child shall lead them.
She's a sweet little girl.
I wish, you know, Fred, there's a little Cape Cod cottage for sale out near the old people's home. Be just right for 3 people.
I can't afford anything right now.
Well, looking at that house a few days ago, I said to myself, Chris, one good case to bring him fame, and Fred Gailey could buy that little cottage and make a little girl extremely happy.
Chris.
And then Susan would know I'm Santa Claus.
Chris Kringle, did you hit Mr. Sawyer on the head to bring all this into court?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Chris, answer me straight. Who are you?
Me? I'm Chris Kringle.
Chris Kringle will return in just a moment. Next week, another great star brings one of his most brilliant performances to the Screen Directors Playhouse. Our story is One Way Passage, and recreating his original role will be William Powell with Screen Director Tay Garnett. Now, returning to our Screen Directors Christmas party, here is tonight's star, Edmund Gwenn.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the 500 children in our Christmas party audience tonight are much more expert at this business of make-believe than we grown-ups. So many of us lose the magnificent gift of imagination. But when it does continue beyond childhood, we call it talent. Now, I would like you to meet the man to whom I owe so much. Writer-director of Miracle on 34th Street and of such other films as Apartment for Peggy and the soon-to-be-released 2 Corridors East. My author-director, George Seaton.
Thanks, Edmund. You know, watching these youngsters enjoy your performance tonight, I realize more than ever how an idea can grow into something real.
Well, you mean your idea for the miracle story, George?
No. That wasn't mine. The original story and the novel were written by Valentine Davies. But I had the pleasure of following it through as a screenplay, a motion picture, and tonight as a radio play. And if the story managed to bring a little more Christmas into the lives of these wonderful kids, then Miracle on 34th Street has worked a small miracle of its own.
Well, then tonight, George, as the creator of the picture, you are really playing the part of Chris Kringle.
Oh, no. I'm still the director. And, Edmund, you are still Chris Kringle. And it's time you went to work. There are a lot of presents here on the stage and a lot of deserving youngsters to receive them.
Mr. Director, I never had a happier assignment. A very Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Edmund Gwenn and George Seaton. Our thanks to R.H. Maisie Department Stores for their gift of 500 Christmas stockings for our little guests. The publishing firm of Simon & Schuster for its gift of 500 children's books. And at the Country Store of Beverly Hills Candies for its presentations to the children. Remember next week, One Way Passage with William Powell and Tay Garnett on Screen Directors Playhouse. Miracle on 34th Street was presented through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, currently releasing the Darrell F. Zanuck production 12 O'Clock High, starring Gregory Peck, and Prince of Foxes, starring Tyrone Power. Edmund Gwenn appeared by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the Technicolor musical On the Town, starring Gene Kelly, Frank Sinatra, and Betty Garrett. This is Jimmy Wallington speaking and inviting you to listen again next week when we present...
Star William Powell, production One Way Passage, director Tay Garnett.
Next, it's Bill Stern and the Sports Newsreel on NBC.